Disclaimer. The information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GAN's processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
I hope I open your eyes to the dimension of life. Life as a holistic life of your soul, which is part of the structure of the universe, not life as part of the physicality, which is part of the structure of this planet. And then we understand what the next step be if we are not prejudiced, if we are not misguided, if we are not narrow-minded, just to keep to understand what is here, I leave the rest to my soul when I'm gone. Then you find out you have a lot to learn to get to that point. I hope, as usual, I open another door, a crack in the wall, that it brings down all the misguided understanding of the past, and you become to enlighten yourself. If you listen, which is beautiful every time I hear it, to the disclaimer of every teaching, embedded in it, in the word of it, in the ethos of it, it keeps on telling you, this is individual cases. It's your job to investigate independently, to peer review if what they did suits me, if it's correct to me. It's not just for your illness, it's for the illness of your mind, your understanding of your own world of creation. And then you understand, even each intro gives you what I call independently, you decide. Does this fit me? Do I understand it? Where I missed? And does it go according to my intelligence? This is why we never have a peer review, because in the word of the disclaimer, it's your job to investigate to your understanding, and it befits you.
And welcome each and all to the Keshe American Knowledge Team for August 9th, 2026. I'm your host, Mark Anderson, along with Alex Gorick, who will be here in the energy dimension only, but he has sent a physical video that we'll watch today on a teaching. I think it's about melanin and so on, and how privileged we are and humbled we are to be here and even share a small aspect of this knowledge. And of course, Mr. Keshe continues to open doors for each and every one of us, depending on how much you want that door to open. As I see it, it's just laid out rather completely. But as he said, to learn this, to become a master at some of this understanding takes a bit of time, but we know there's no restrictions in the world of creation. You can actually go from the first class up to the university level in no time. But I think normally it's a journey, it's a process. And as he said, we have a lot to learn, and we are learning a lot at the same time. Some are taking a little, some are taking a lot. And I don't know if anyone is taking everything, but we're certainly growing and in strength and understanding of this process of creation. And of course, this is affecting our ethos and the way we sort of observe things and look at things. So it's a beautiful gift. We always knew something was missing in our lives. And I guess it's the understanding of the creator in the process of creation. And it's still many, many more doors to open. But that was the beauty of the disclaimer. You decide what you'd like to take and how you'd like to take it and what you'd like to understand and what you'd maybe not like to understand at this time. So there's no forcing. This is a non-racial, space-based organization, non-religious, as we've often heard, although religions do get referred to from time to time by Mr. Keshe and so on. So thank you all for being here. We're going to try to open up a little bit more about the Keshe coin, the game of peace and enlightenment, how they're all tied together and so on. Of course, Mr. Keshe mentioned suicide. If we have time, we'll go back to that, and anti-gravity and a few other things. But anyone have anything they'd like to say before we go to the World Peace Treaty, which again, just reconfirming our ethos. If you do believe you're a galaxy or a unicos, you can create a peaceful unicos starting right now. Again, this is the idea of you creating peace within yourself first and then the others. But you have a whole galaxy or a whole unicos to work on. So that gives us plenty of time and scope to take a look at many different areas. Randy has put something in the chat. We need something to share with people about the Keshe coin. So many people would benefit from knowing about the coin. I agree. It does give some peace of mind. It may not be in your hand or your pocket, Randy, but at this point in time, it's just starting to go out for tests. But I think you can almost see the rescue ship coming in. So it says benefit from knowing about the coin. Needs to be easy to understand with instructions, etc. I know at three or four Telegram groups that I can share that with. Well, one of the things, Randy, that we'll get into after the peace treaty is you can go and direct them to the YouTube channel, I believe it is. Let's just see, and it's right here. And they can start to study some of these 6 videos, the universal coin, the Keshe coin, the number 4, number 6. One is for governments, one is focusing on the elderly, but it's all encompassing, and it's all encompassing of all coins eventually, even though governments in China and other BRICS are trying to put out their own coin. It's already been solved. The details have already been worked out. We have one coin for every nation, and this is the way they're approaching. But I agree. I was wondering, is the knowledge more difficult to understand, or is the game? I think they're sort of a reflection of one another. But this is the YouTube channel, and we'll put it in the chat, where you can find these different coin videos, as has just said, and she sent it to someone. And again, people would see this and say, gee, I can end up with 1,000 coins lifetime, but I don't have to really buy them. How does that work? Anyone have any understanding of that?
And I have to always make sure to mention that it's an internal coin.
Yes.
So that people don't think they can just take it out of the bank or take it out of somewhere and spend it willy-nilly.
At this point in time, it is offered as an internal coin to the Keshe Foundation, and we can see many areas are growing within the Keshe Foundation, from concrete
Right.
to lettuces and other conditions that are being created. Okay, so
And
that's
as soon as business are joining, then it can be exchanged with them too.
yes. And of course,
So the options will increase of what will be there to buy with the coins, exchange with the coins.
oh yeah, it will grow by leaps and bounds once people sort of, as Randy said, start to become aware of what is in the pipeline for not only you, but humanity overall, especially the ones that find life much harsher, let's say, than many of us do in the West, although there's a lot of people in the West finding very harsh conditions as well, and more by the day, it appears. So let's go back. Remember, the Keshe Foundation is introducing a new science. It's called the Keshe Plasma Technology, a new ethos, which is the ethos of peace, finding peace within yourself, finding peace within your thinking, within your speaking, and with your actions. And then, of course, a new language. And I think that's the language of giving and collaborating and so on, and all the other sort of beautiful ideas of peace and kindness and enlightenment, so on, are embodied in this language. I think it's the language of love. And as he said, there's no love in the universe. We call it unconditional giving. But maybe that unconditional giving is going to even expand into a deeper understanding in the universe, as well, as so many of the universal creatures don't understand unconditional giving. It's one for one. And this is the beauty. My internet connection is not stable. Okay. Hopefully it stabilizes. So this is the World Peace Treaty. Again, you start to move in that direction of thinking, speaking, and acting good, and becoming peaceful in your universe. This is what he keeps saying. You're not going to really travel with the physicality unless it's in the energy dimension across the universe. You're going to travel in that energy dimension. So this is the space that I think we need to become peaceful in. And that's that dimension between the ears, this energy dimension, or, as he likes to say, what we see in the depths of the universe, we see in the depths of the soul of the man. And there was much more teaching about that. So creating a peaceful universe within you. And the universes are usually pretty big places. So there's a lot apparently to clean up as far as getting this idea of killing and destruction and moving it into peace and collaboration. So this is the universe that you can create peaceful, starting anytime you like, or improving it. And hopefully that's what we're all doing, moving step by step closer in the direction of existing the way the Creator exists, without having to destroy any of the creation to sustain itself. We're not there yet, but certainly many systems. So this is sort of the opening of the door, signing an agreement. Doesn't have to be physically signed. It can just be signed internally. But for the Keshe Foundation and the coins, apparently they're going to ask you to actually endorse this document on a yearly basis, and so on and so forth. You're just not going to get the coins for free. There's a few caveats attached, like where it will be spent, how it will be spent, and so on. But this is the opening of the door, in a way, of becoming peaceful. And you say, well, I'm not destroying any other people on this planet, really. Maybe my tax money is being used for it. So overall, I'm fairly peaceful. But once we understand the process of creation, we can see, in a way, how violent we are. Ern, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I have another question which you briefly touched on before, and you said something that the Keshe coin would somehow encompass all the other cryptocurrencies later. Is
Yeah,
that true?
down the road, whether that's a decade, a century, or longer.
And there has been some kind of a agreement, you said,
Agreement for?
to have that happen?
No, I
Or
think
not?
it's a natural process.
Okay.
As people gravitate. This is not a coin for speculation.
Right.
This is what we would say a fixed coin, and the amount is sort of stabilized, and it's
Okay.
not there for speculation, as most people go into the crypto and so on and want to buy it for $1 and hopefully it goes to 10,000 or whatever. This
Okay.
is not
Thank
that
you.
type of procedure.
So it has a fixed value straight from the beginning. Nothing changed. No change.
So this,
And another thing is the word entitled, or I always kind of figured that there was some leeway on the side of the foundation to change the rules as needed. But entitlement kind of is a legal term. I have somebody I want to involve here who is he's an Asperger type syndrome type person who's extremely legalistic. And I wanted to introduce him, and I just want to make sure he's not going to go start suing or something. He's known for that. So
what do you mean entitlement?
every person is entitled to
Right.
so many.
But they have to tap into it.
And they cannot be warmongering.
Mhm.
So anybody whose family is part of a military is not allowed. So they have to release that, change, and then they'll be accepted.
If you're
The family or the who?
Everybody in the family.
I mean, we have several nephews who just signed up for the Navy for 8 years. Does that affect their siblings?
Yes. If
As
you're,
I understand it, yes.
didn't he say if you're in the military services, don't apply?
No, but these are adult siblings.
Yes, I would say so. But ones in the military or holding certain passports will not receive the coins.
Yeah, I mean, yes to what? You just said yes.
I know what
You
you're
said to the
saying. I think we need.
siblings. The siblings
Because-
are not in the military,
Yeah.
correct?
That's right. That's the father of the baby shower baby. And
Yeah.
I gave him one of those things while his brother and his cousin are both in the Navy.
Okay.
So
We
does
need to
that
clarify
can
that,
or
I think.
can't? Right.
I think we need to ask that question.
Or in the military do not apply at this point in time. Eventually, he said militaries will actually be playing the game during part of their day's work, and they would also be earning for their governments. So usually military expenditures is all outgoing. Now, the military in the future, I know Mr. Keshe referenced this, to get the military to play the game, but apparently that's not at this point in time yet. But they will actually be earning vast amounts of revenue for their government.
For the country.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
But definitely not through war. That would be
right. More peaceful as they
it would defeat our purpose, let's put it that way.
So they become more peaceful as we understand the ethos. Part of the ethos of Mitra is the thinking, speaking, and acting good. And he says, as you play this game, the ethos sinks in, almost like magic in a way. But we know it's not magic; it's interaction of energies. So this is our World Peace Treaty. Again, if you're going to collaborate with the Keshe Foundation in any shape or form, as I understand it, whether it's the coin or adding plasma technology to your current products you manufacture, or entering into research centers or any sort of collaboration, first requirement is signing the World Peace Treaty. Now, that doesn't mean you have to be an angel to sign it. Because if you were an angel, you wouldn't need to sign it, would you? So this is it. It's between you and your central energy. Sometimes when we say the soul, but that's the word they use here, it's kind of has a religious aspect. But in the universe, they call it the center, but we call it central energies as well, or control system. As we know, it's quite powerful. So this is an agreement between the, let's say, the physicality, soul of physicality, and the soul of the man to become more peaceful. The soul is already a perfect gentleman, quite peaceful, although a little bit indented from the work of the physicality and how it has to gather certain energies. But we're trying to get the lion and the lamb to eat and sleep in the same nest, moving the electron a bit closer, let's say, or even closer, not becoming the proton, but moving closer and in the same nest. So again, it's quite profound. I think we'll see more and more as time goes on as we open this up. And to me, it's that galaxy that you already are and creating a peaceful galaxy in the universe, which is you. And you look at your physicality and you say, gee, this galaxy isn't too big. But as we know, the fields expand. So, and every thought, every word, and every action apparently is a field generator. But we've kind of been pretty sloppy about that and not too careful, sometimes saying things and so on. Lying, especially, that was brought up in the workshop. Alex likes to refer to that as well. So, World Peace Treaty. Anyone would like to read the World Peace Treaty?
You can do that.
Would you like me to do that?
I can do it.
That's fine if you'd like to. Thank you, Merv.
World Peace Treaty, and I will phrase it as I, or shall I do it as we?
You can do it whatever befits you.
Okay, I will do it with we. We, as citizens of the earth, from this moment on, accept to lay down all tools of aggression and war. We shall never think about getting involved or incite war or develop or use any tools of war on this planet or in space. And to this, we all agree and swear with our nation, territory, council, religion, town, city, town, body, and soul. And signed by me on behalf of our group here, witnessed by someone. After signing this treaty, be proud to display the certificate wherever you consider being important to you, that everyone can see and know your ethos to fellow men and the mankind and other created beauties of Creator.
Thank you, Erm. Does this is like starting a interaction or a reactor in a way? Maybe the soul of the universe, universal community, hears your wish to, even though they observe you as not so peaceful, they see you've made a wish, energies have sort of interacted, and in a way, that wish, this react can start a process that's happening in the background, even though you're part of it as well, and many things we have to do on our own, but just with this intention, you start to move in becoming more peaceful. And as I said, we're not killing most of us other people in a way, but once we start to understand deeper the love of creation and how creation happens in a soul and how it becomes sacrosanct in a way and needs to be respected, and how the Creator not only created man in his image, created the entire universe in his image. And whether it's in the matter state or in the energy state, it all must be respected, but you can still interact with it. We just don't have to kill and destroy. And as he keeps reminding us, the more we move away from killing, the more we have to gain. Again, killing with your words. Alex likes to refer to that as loose harvesting. Killing with your thoughts, or even your eye. Let's say we've heard of this evil eye or something along that line. So let's create a peaceful universe, but it's up to you because it is your universe and only you can create that peace in a way. And we have a lot of other systems within the Keshe Foundation that will help bring that balance, like what Gail was referring to, certain rooms where you can perhaps go in for dining or in for wellness or other situations. That will come in the future with the cosmic ray antennas. So it's such a gift, beautiful by the Creator in so many ways, and it's all being laid out. We just have to pick up and move with it. But again, it's not a day process as I thought early on. When is this all going to happen? It's happening. It's just a process. And sometimes when you're in it, you don't see these rather gradual and slow moves. But you're part of bringing it. And I think this is the most important thing humanity has ever experienced in a way. As they say at the end of the Brazilian team meetings, many times they played that video, where never has such a knowledge so beautifully been dispersed so evenly and across any sort of civilization, perhaps anywhere in the universe. So we're quite fortunate. I don't think we all realize the gift that's been given. That's why he says we have a lot to learn, and these teachings will be opened up for centuries into the future, many, many of them. And of course, as we start to interact with the other intelligences in the universe, I think that will even enhance it even more. And I think this is even getting ready to be disclosed by numbers of governments, that we've always been with other, let's say, intelligent entities from the universe, and we can explain it much deeper. They're not here to eat us or kill us. They're here to elevate us. That's normally the process. And they're from the same creator as we are. We just haven't understood the process of creation. But when we do, you can see how natural it all fits together. Okay. Again, I said we would focus on the Keshe Foundation's coin, the game of peace and enlightenment, signing up, and so on. Gail has become somewhat of an expert. We already put in here where you can start to research these coins. I thought we would go to the beginning of the teaching where Mr. Keshe said, I'd like to take 10 or 15 minutes and just go over some things about the coin and so on before we actually got into the teaching. Normally it goes right into the teaching. So let me bring up the transcript, and we'll hear about 15 minutes. And I'm sure many of you have heard some of these Keshe coin videos, and this is what he's referring to, the video that Rick had played in the beginning after the disclaimer. So let's just listen to this. And again, Mr. Keshe seems to be calling the plays and sort of directing many things in the background. But this is what he's saying now about signing up for this KesheFoundation.at. Maybe when he gets there, which is right in the beginning, Gail, I'll bring up that slide and you can tell us about signing up for Keshe Foundation AT, or anyone else can add to it as well. Or if you've had issues with it, let's hear that as well. So let's begin. Feel free to stop at any time, make your comments, add to the knowledge.
And once again, of course, we're joined with Mr. Mayran Keshe of the Keshe Foundation, who will guide us through today's information and teachings. Please go ahead, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much. Good morning, good day to you. As usual, whenever you listen to this series of knowledge seekers from Keshe Foundation Space Institute, we welcome you back. We're going to divert a little bit in the first 5 or 10 minutes of teaching of today to bring out a very important information to all knowledge seekers that will bring everything we said to the next step, and then we go back to teaching. As you heard in the intro, the introduction of Keshe Foundation to governments and collaboration, many of you have received a gift on my birthday on Sunday, as you wish me a beautiful birthday date last week. I returned your love and your kindness with offering all your knowledge seekers. Many of you have already received the email, and many of you will receive more of it in the coming days, as a gift of my birthday to all of you. In this message, we ask you first to sign into the Keshe Foundation Association in Austria. That makes you eligible to receive the coin. If you haven't registered into the Keshe Foundation Austria Association, we cannot give you the coin. We have sorted, and we are sorting the situation that many of you cannot pay to become a member, to make it in a way available for those who cannot due to like governments or place where you are and the facility doesn't exist, like in Africa and some Asian countries and some South American countries, that you don't need to pay to be registered. We are facilitating that. Hopefully should be cleared that you can register for association. And once you register for association, you go into the game.
Maybe this is where we should stop. Okay, so once you register for the association, is anyone registered for the association? Was it easy? Gail, would you like to explain something? I think I have the association here somewhere, I think.
Yeah, for me, I did have some difficulty because I didn't pay through PayPal, but it looks like you have to. And so it was confusing for me. And then I realized once I clicked on credit card, then things started to go through. You weren't actually registered with PayPal, but you kind of went through the process with PayPal name there. So really, at the beginning, when you decide what kind of support are you going to give, so if you read it clearly, then a full member, it's allowing you to. Well, actually, Mark, I've lost something of the words.
Well,
I
no
cannot
problem. It
see.
says either a full member or a supporting member can start at €1 per year. So this is the first step. Now, he's
Yeah.
referring to those who had gotten an email from the Keshe Foundation. I didn't receive any email, but I've signed up for the association so that when the time comes and some coins perhaps are coming my way, already have done that. So you don't need to receive an email, but for those ones who have received an email, and don't tell me if you have, because I don't want to know, you would need to if you haven't registered for this association. And then the next step, he said, would be to go to the game and register in the game. Gail, any other comments? So it's rather simple. Credit card, you don't need to sign up for PayPal. You can donate as little as €1. You'll have to do this on a yearly basis, as I understand it.
Yeah, it will tell you, and you might think that you have to do something with PayPal, but just click on the card using your credit card, and then just go through the steps. It'll be quite easy. I guess if there are people who are having trouble, it might be good for us to ask our wonderful Ed to help us with a little video for that because it was a bit confusing and I'm used to using internet, so if a person isn't, it could cause a problem.
Right.
And
So,
then the other thing is if you do that, then you have to with the association, okay, if you want to be the member, you have to kind of join the association too.
right, that's this.
And that's
Join
through Austria, yeah. And each of us who are in different countries, and don't forget when you're in your country, let's say I have to get people together. I can start with only a few, and we need to become ambassadors of our country, and we will be able to start working on an association in our country and then gradually get other people who are playing the game and who want to use Cashcoin to join in. But we have to establish the association, and that will be connected to the one in Austria, and eventually it will be one very worldwide association. Oh, and each of us will be a part of that very
Right.
well, I don't like to think of an overarching. I want to think of each country is, I'm not sure how to say it, but you would have to follow the Constitution, and then you would have to adapt it to the legal laws of each of your countries. So That's the next process we have to deal with.
Okay, so we put that
Yes.
in there. You can pass. It sounds like that is the first step in the whole process, isn't it? Now, at
Yes.
this point, they're not asking you to
Is.
sign the World Peace Treaty, are they?
I haven't actually heard that. I mean, most of us have, but if
Right.
you're thinking about the new person, I guess we should have our peace treaty with us, and maybe we need to clarify with Mr. Kesh.
Mhm,
I'm assuming that you do have to.
mhm. But it's not asking you to sign the World Peace Treaty here, is it?
Not that I saw.
Okay, so, and then once you're registered, you already have a name and a password, correct, Gail? That you can log in as a member.
If you're talking about the email, okay, because we use our email,
Yes.
and the association will give us any information through that email. So whatever your password is, I think that's with the email itself. I'm not thinking about how we join the game.
All right, so let's go back. That was just a brief clip where Mr. Kesh said the first step is to, if you've gotten an email and you want your coins, again, when you're entitled to them, um, that doesn't mean if I'm entitled to have a free sample of a bottle of shampoo, unless I sort of engage in that offer, I don't get the free bottle of shampoo, do I? Even though I'm entitled to it, I have to take a step in that direction, yes?
You have to become a member of some sort
Mhm.
in order to use the cash coin, because we have to follow the legality of everything when you're dealing with, currency of any sort.
Absolutely. And taxes have to be paid. This is part of this whole structure. Everything is accounted for. Everything is sort of on
And it's audited.
in the
That's
computer. Yes.
very heavily audited. Nobody can steal. Everything is accountable. Even the government has to be accountable. So it's a good system.
And again, I think this facilitates the ability of trading between people within nations and people across nations, if we could put it that way. By being a member of an association, you have certain rights and privileges that the normal man on the street, let's say, doesn't aren't afforded because they're not part of an association. As Mr. Kesh said, foundations used to be popular. They sort of went out of fashion. Now it's associations, and when they find out they can't do what they want to do, that will become unfashionable as well. But right now, it's the association. Okay, let's go back to again here, and I'll bring up the transcript and we'll continue. This goes on about 15 minutes or so.
Foundation and association are totally different legal entities. So they
Correct.
have to be specific. So
Correct.
for different functions.
That's what Mr. Kesh was saying. Foundations used to be the in thing, but now they've kind of tarred them or, feathered them in a bit. So everybody's moved because they were using for some wrong purposes. So now everyone's moving into the type of structure of associations, which, as he said, once they become unfashionable for whatever reason, they'll be moving into something else.
And if you know, yeah, I like the way that it's put in the chat. The Keshe Foundation is a registered nonprofit association.
Right.
So that's very important.
All set up, just needs to be replicated and tailored to the specific rules and regulations and laws
Yeah.
of your particular nation. So it is a bit of work, but the main frame of it has already been written out. And as Mr. Kesh said, a duplicate of it is to be made, an exact copy, other than the rules, regulations, and laws that apply to your specific nation, which have to be met. And of course, in the association, as you're setting these up, he was quite detailed about once you set up an association in your nation. This makes the nationals able to trade the Keshe coins, that whoever takes leadership position in that association should have no real power of starting to dictate, or I'm the king and this is my association and I'm putting my son in charge, or some, you know what I mean, and or diverting funds into another organization I have, or so on. So it needs to be to the point where no one, even the head of that association, has any more power than anyone else, as I understand it. Any comment on that, Gail, or anyone else?
Um, I do, well, to me, of course, I agree because we don't want to have the past visiting us again. So it's for everybody and everybody's treated equal. So, we are having a little bit of resistance from those who kind of have a whole lot more than everybody else. So I think this is to stop, taking what other people also need. So for me, I'm going to take what I need. Maybe I want to have a few Mercedes in my driveway, but I can do with one. I'm sorry to say it that way, but yeah, whatever you need. So somebody else doesn't have to starve to death or go without. And yeah,
So
sharing,
even
caring.
even heads of these associations may be tempted by greed or other things, unless they're already sort of pre-handcuffed. That there's very few loopholes that can be found for someone who's a bit moving in that direction. So he
Yeah,
encouraged this quite strongly in the last 654, that that association be set up, that the power is in everyone's hands and not just one or two. Okay, let's go back. Here we go. I think this goes on for maybe 15 more minutes, but this is, again, all the inside scoop on what's happening, not what I say, because I hardly understand the process here, just working it out.
And then in the game, you send us your, not a cash coin, not the CC coin, but KC coin, Keshe coin, your account number. Please send us the Q code. Don't send me the digit because it takes a long time to put your digits in. And we send you a gift. The first gift is, in a way, 10 coins to each one of you who goes through the process on this. But as we said, you heard in the beginning, the tape of the intro today, you have to send us which authority, which government, and what is your tax number to the government. You all were pay taxes, you have a social security, you have a tax association, somewhere you pay taxes to your government. You have to provide us with that tax number. In that process, we send a message to your government, to tax office where you pay, that on you registering for the coin, your government has become entitled to receive 100 coin, 100,000 for your registration, which means they can accept the coin and be registered by the Keshe Association. We tell them the procedure they have to follow. And if, let's say, 50 of you, 20 of you are from, let's say, England or China or whatever, your government receives literally 2 million euro in coins. This brings the acceptance in. Once they accept to receive the coins, it brings the collaboration between you and your government, and you declare your coin you received to your government. But
I wanted to ask, even if you do receive the coins, didn't he say that you will not be taxed on them unless you actually spend them? Is that true? I believe I had heard that. So you can
So
receive.
in other words, if you use them, if you do, yeah, if you're using them, part of the process will take the taxes out. But I also understood that it wasn't supposed to take away from our number of coins per year. Is it the case that the foundation will automatically give whatever number should be given per year, for example, for a child just born. That's what I understood,
I'm
that
thinking,
they,
for example, you have a bank account and you've earned a little bit of interest. The bank will send the government a W-2 saying that this person has earned so much interest. And then you may or may not, depending on if that interest is a lot, you may have to pay taxes on that.
yeah, that I think it's going to be a
So
bit,
it sounds like the Keshe will say, oh, Mark spent $1,000 in the Keshe Foundation store as a gift through a Keshe coin. We need to alert his government that he's received $1,000 in value, perhaps, and therefore appropriate state, local, federal taxes may apply on that $1,000 that I spent. Is that your understanding, anyone?
well, my understanding is that it will be controlled by the system that will
Okay.
watch everything and make sure that everything is audited, so there won't be any possibility that it would be taken away from the person themselves.
And then
I'm not sure.
would you have to come out of your pocket with cash to pay that, or could you pay the government if they've accepted it in Keshe coin? I think that's what was referred to.
Yes, it has to be in cash flow, but I had the understanding that each person, there is a certain amount given to the government each year, 10
Okay,
coins.
I see.
But how it's done, how it's audited, I'm not sure.
Right. If they take the taxes out first, why would the government tax you again? He said there was no double taxation in this process.
Hmm.
So again, these are little things that need to be worked out, or they're probably worked out. It's just the clarification and the understanding of it. Like the knowledge, as I keep referring to. Okay, let's continue with this. Any other comments? But a beautiful way of, in a way, the ship is coming in for you. Start the whole process and get it moving. I mean, if you can receive 10 coins for €1 and spend it internally within the Keshe Foundation, there's no other better offer on the internet. And of course, it's not really ready for prime time. These coins are just going out to select individuals for test purposes and see how they flow, see how the governments interact, what happens, and so on. So that whole process could be 3-6 months. I don't know for sure. Anyone want to add anything on that? But it's in test now for select individuals. And as Mr. Keshe said, if you receive coins, if you keep it to yourself between you and they will watch how it works out. Of course, collaborate with the foundation and so on, but you don't have to let anyone know that you've received the coins and you're part of this process. Okay, let's go back.
As long as you don't spend the coin, you don't pay taxes on it. You can keep it in your wallet. And this was the purpose we sent this out. We need you to give us your tax registration and where you pay to. That we get in touch with your government, with your tax office, and say, we have such a person who's registered with us. As part of our promise, we make available in the next 10 years 10 coins per year for this person who was registered, and they'll be receiving 30 coins a year. And the 10 coins you receive this year and the request we send to you does not count as part of the 30 coins. So this year you will receive the 30 coins in association round, maybe 2.5, or 3 coins per month to cover it. We don't release all 30 coins in one go. We release to you on a systematic way. The system will be set up in the background that on a given time, randomly, we don't make you addict to wait for the first of the month to then play games the way people do with their lives. Once a month, you receive allocation that it covers you with 30 coins a year.
So again, a lot of these cryptocurrencies and others have really fancy names and all that, but they don't always perform so well. Some of them do, but they go up and down like a seesaw. This is a coin you can trust in, and this is a coin you can believe in. And I think Mr. Keshe mentioned this coin is backed by gold, the only coin backed by gold. And as he said, we mine it as we need it. And that demonstration was in China in 2025, which you can actually see on YouTube, the creation of materials through fields using cosmic ray technology. I believe that's the title of it.
When you spend this coin, you transfer how much you spend the coin and what you did with it, and become your income. You declare it. If they ask you to pay tax, maybe 20%, 10%, you pay back. The rest of the coin you keep. At the same time, the Keshe Foundation store, which hopefully open in the next few days, and gradually in the next few weeks, you will see a campaign option on the coin. Part of the products or some of the products can be fully, or services can be fully paid with a coin into the Keshe coin section of the game. Keshe Foundation will open its own account on the game, and you pay to that, and then the people responsible and the system in the background check what you paid, or partially is a coin, partially is payment. And the same goes with the government. We offer services to the government that they can pay with the coins they receive from you, or on your behalf when you registered. So this week is important to us. Many of you just sent us the number of your KC account. Please send us QR code. It's easier for us to handle. It's there on the site. And secondly, provide us with the authorities and your tax number, that we can send a message to the authorities. They're entitled to 100,000 for registration in the next 10 years. And if 1,000 people register and the government receives 10,000 per person this year, is a lot of money. Gradually, as the systems and technologies become available, our services becomes available to the governments, which means they want to open a hospital, they want to use our technology, they don't need to go and find budget in their cash accounts of the government. They can pay us with our coins. And these coins will be used again in the system to, in a way, pay back to you and run the services. So collaborate with us. You register. If you have not registered with the association in Austria, we cannot release your coin. You have to tell us you have signed, and the references will be checked. You become entitled for the cash coin, and at the same time, you have to provide us your tax detail and the authorities you pay to, references and whatever. And then we start a process, collaboration between the governments, you registering, and the beginning of the Keshe coin become international structure in the worldwide structure of the Keshe Foundation. If we receive 1,000 members registration from you, from the invitations we sent you, then if, let's say, 50, 100 of you from the United States, we inform the United States Treasury or the state you are in that they're entitled to this 100,000 per registration over the next 10 years. So you can see how it escalates.
And of course, playing on the greed a little bit, but that's also bringing them into the system, as Randy has put in. How do we send the tax info safely? Again, I don't think there's any security on these computers myself. I would not send sensitive info like this via email, and I think someone else said that as well. Some of these things are not encrypted or whatever. It's just, again, we probably, even if you have encryption software, it's easily opened up by certain places, let's say. So I don't know, Randy, myself, but I'm sure there'll be a way to convey this. He did say send the QR code, which is in the game. Maybe, Gail, we should show the game of Peace and Enlightenment. We've been talking about this game.
Yeah, I think that would be great.
Okay. And he's asking for the QR code, yeah?
Yeah, you can look under, there's two.
Two, okay.
The one that you receive your coins, that's 0 KC.
Okay, so here is a QR code, which apparently is my QR code. And if I haven't received any cash coins, but if I were to, I needed to share this with the foundation. Is that the
Yeah,
idea?
you need to take the actual funny looking little box and send that.
Okay. And it has a button here for copy, share QR, or save QR. Again, I haven't worked with QR and the rest of this. Sometimes I heard they can actually, you see an ad and it has a QR code. It may send you to a totally different place.
Oh, I
Not
haven't
with
had that
the Keshe
experience yet.
Foundation. I'm sure this is something we can trust in, but many of these QR codes, I mean, no one can read by looking at the dots and the lines and the squares where that's going to take you, or any of the other ones, as I know. But this
So
is part of,
there's a place to return it directly on the game?
I'm not familiar with your setup with your computer or anything, but I tried both copy and save, and one of them in my, where I save my downloads, it shows the actual code. So it does go. So just check which one, either copy or
Yeah,
save.
but we're supposed to return it to them. Is there a function on the game how we return it?
You have to take it and either copy or save, and then check on your computer for the download and use that to send it from.
To send it to what address?
That's what they will give you when they give you your email to tell you. Then they will give you those addresses.
Okay.
so just be patient with everything. Again, not a large team
Yeah.
in the development background, but it is getting done slowly, step by step. And this is such a revolutionary thing in a way that we haven't really understood fully how it's going to impact ourselves and humanity in the future. So we're blessed again to be here and share how humanity can get out of this suffering and harshness of life and move away from killing and destruction.
And there's one other thing too. They will also ask you where taxes go to. So don't forget your tax numbers when you're sending your QR code. But again, they will tell you not to forget that. And also the name of the tax authority that you pay to.
Now, Gail, there's a number of servers around the world for this game. I'm on the US game, and we're going to put this in the chat. But there are other servers as well, aren't there? And
There's 4 altogether.
let me
So
log off. Let me log off, and let's just show people rather quickly. I think I can log off. I've learned how to do that. And I'm going to log off. And if I was a brand new player, I would, if I entered us.getplasma.org, I would see this screen and I would sign in as a new player, correct? And if I was to click on new player, first they're asking you that if you are human. Yes, I am. Yes.
yeah,
This is
I'm
where
not sure.
sign up for the game. Yes?
I still have to ask the question about this because I didn't sign as new player. I wanted to test it with my ordinary credentials. So I just put what I had already put on the world server.
Right. But let's say you're a brand new person, just
Okay,
got
yeah.
the link for the first time. You would sign up as a new player. This screen would come up, correct? And you'd create a username. You'd create a password, and you'd repeat the password. And then your name, or yeah, and he said be upfront and away, your birthplace, your birth date, and so on, gender, email address, and so on. So
And the username can be an invented name, or does that have to be my legal name?
Where did you say username are you talking about?
Username.
Yeah, that can be a special name you like to put on the game, like Fox or something exciting.
Okay.
If you don't want people to know it's you, yeah.
Right, you can tailor that for something you
Can we
want.
change the username?
Yeah, but then I think you go to creating, it may generate a whole new code and everything else. I'm not
Okay.
clear on that myself. Gail, if you change username and password, does it change
What's supposed
other encryptions or codes you have in?
if you do change the username, the system is supposed to handle it, and I understood that the system correction has been done, and it should be able to reset your different wallets with your new username. But a few of us, when we first started, we had a problem with that. So if you are unable or things seem to go wrong after you change that, then we have to talk to the developer and they will help us. Okay.
Yeah,
But I think most of those,
it's just
yeah,
like people like me who are not used to this yet so much.
mhm.
For me, windows are things you look out of, not look at. And username is the name of the user, which would be my whole name to me,
Mm,
without being,
yeah.
clued
It's
into what it means
different
in
people
language.
will see the word username a different way, but it's
Right.
supposed to be something that you can use when you're playing on the game. If somebody
Yeah.
sees your name, that's
So
it can be funny, like people like to be funny when they're playing the game, like I
Now,
don't know, Spider-Man and anything else.
yeah,
yeah.
here's something, an anomaly. This morning my consciousness was 100%, and right now it's 0. Maybe I just need to refresh. So these are some of the beauties of helping to perfect the game, and so on and so forth. Let's just see if this comes out again. I guess it's asking me to log in. Maybe that's the reason. And I've also noted that on this screen, or on the playing screen, apparently I've had 2 updates today, and a little window came here and it said update automatically to the latest version. So I saw that twice today. Now let's see, did my consciousness is back to 0 for some reason?
And you make sure
And my enlightenment was 100%. Yeah. And now they have me on level 1. What happened, Gail?
because you just went to a new server.
I went to a new server.
Did you?
No.
Uh-huh. Oh, sorry, you're on US now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You just saw my
Oh yes, for a
camera.
new person. So they're just beginning. So if you're a new player, everything is fresh,
Yeah, but I didn't sign
except
up
for
as a
knowledge.
player, did I? I didn't put any information.
Did you click on new player?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well that changes things.
It does.
Actually,
Just
do
try
a
to
hard
go back.
reset. So you
Let's
hold down
go
your
back. Yeah.
shift key. Yeah, hold
I'm
down your shift key
on
and reload.
right now. Okay. Um, let me see. Yeah,
When you
all I
do
did
that,
was log off. I'm just trying to show people that what happens, you can sign up as a new player. But I didn't sign up as a new player. Okay. And I didn't click send verification. I'm just showing the screen that people need to fill out. So I don't know if that happened because I went on that screen or not. And let me just re-log in, hopefully with my current name and password. So yeah, the game is not perfect. Give us 12 to 24 months to perfect it. And I know there's some things that could be corrected, but there's just such a small team. Let's see what happens. I noticed the knowledge didn't go down, but one
Yeah,
thing,
that's what I was looking at. I wondered why.
but you had seen my screen in an earlier meeting. I was showing you the enlightenment was 100% at level 3. So I don't know if something happened. There it is. Now it's back. 100% energy, 100 consciousness, 100. So
Oh yeah. And
times
now you're
these things can happen. Don't let it shake your faith in the game because it usually.
show again how to do the hard reset.
with holding your shift key
The
and
key
then
on my computer,
yeah, yeah,
is
the shift
that's
key
the
on the
enter
computer.
key, right? That's the enter key, right?
No, when you're making a capital letter, that's your shift key.
Oh, that one. Okay. All
Hmm.
right.
And then you have to go to your browser reload.
My
When you're,
browser.
yeah, well, are you using, I don't even know the names of them now. Some people use Safari, some people, I use Vivaldi. It depends on what you're browsing.
And so then the one that I'm playing the game on, not right now, I'm not there, but that browser that I'm playing on, and does that carry over to if I use a different browser?
Um,
Because I
if
play on
if
different ones.
it doesn't really matter. I mean, if you're making it, you're resetting it in a way, bringing it up to date, and the latest version will show.
So
So if the
click, and
team has made changes,
then I go to the tray at the bottom and just click on that icon.
I'm not sure about the icon at the bottom.
The icon of
Maybe
the browser.
I'm not sure about the browser. I would have to actually kind of see it.
So what did
Um,
you say I was supposed to do? Shift key and what?
your reload button. Okay, there's something on your browser that will allow you to reset or reload. So which
Okay, I
one are
guess I
you
gotta go
using
hunting for
now?
it.
Yeah.
Right at the moment, I'm not in the game.
Oh, okay. Um, yeah, it would be better if you were doing the game.
And then do
If
I
you,
do the game always on the same browser, or can I switch browsers? Because I switch them around.
well, if
Because
you use your iPad and you use your laptop, it's the same idea. You can access your game as long as you have it loaded onto your phone or on your laptop, and you sign in the same way. Then I can access it from my tablet or from my laptop.
but I have different browser unlike on my phone and my laptop.
But it doesn't matter as long as you are doing everything the same on the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I put in the initial tutorial that a knowledge seeker had made right after Mr. Keshe had delivered the game. I think you can glean a number of things out of it, even though there's
Yes.
other ones coming in the pipeline. Isn't that right, Gail? Didn't
Yeah,
Ekmar
it's the
say
best.
something? And Ed said something about creating another once he understood more about the game.
Yeah, as soon as he hears about all the different changes that have been made, he'll be able to help.
They seem to be ongoing
And they will, I think, for a year or so.
and features added to the structure.
Many features, yes.
Yep, right. So this is where I think we may be able to, in a way, more or less live in the game. Not completely, of course, but you can spend quite a bit of time and feel refreshed. Probably travel in the future, be fed, dining in this sort of atmosphere as well. And perhaps if you have any sort of conditions of unwellness within the game using your coin, you know exactly where to go. And then a lot of these things, as you use them, as I'm thinking, in the game for feeding or for wellness, the ability to do that or to replicate fields that you were shared with or given and interacted with, you'll be able to do that in a way within your own structure as time goes on. But as he said, to become a master of this takes a long, long time. But we're certainly becoming aware of it. We're, as I said earlier, we're just the early learners, as he referred to, I think, in this workshop. So this is in there for people to view or share as just a simple, and of course, in the game of enlightenment here, if I have it here, you can sort of see there's a blog that was here the last time I looked. Um, but anyway, there's a simple manual to get you started in this game. But I think this is the best offer on the internet. You're risking €1 for potentially 10,000 or 10 coins or lifetime of 1,000 coins, not only for you, but for members of your family as well. So a family of four, puts up €4, very minimal, tiniest risk you could possibly take, because as many people are aware or becoming aware that these coins don't always hold their value. So it's not this is a different type of coin, but ones they heard of or their friends have gotten sort of went from the top of the mountain down to the valley there on some of these coins. This is not going to happen with this setup. You can have that trust and confidence that it's being well monitored, not for speculation, and the books in a way are going to balance in this game. Any other comments on the game? Let's go back to what Mr. Keshe said, but again, centering around the coin, the game, the stock company of Mark Ray, the Shanghai Mark Ray or the Chinese Mark Ray, and so on. All these things, the associations, all being set up. And again, it won't happen overnight. It's a process, as I see it.
In the user data, it's asking for a passport. What if we don't have a passport?
Well, this is what Gail was earlier.
Yeah. In Canada, you can use your SIN number.
Okay.
Social, yeah.
Thank you.
That's what a
That's what I
company
thought.
would.
That's what I thought.
Exactly.
Because Gail was saying some people, they don't even have money for a passport. They just have no money to travel. They're just trying to eke out an existence. Why would they have to put in their passport number? But Gail, do they have an ID at all?
Yeah, we have ID book here, and that's what we use for employment and so on.
Okay.
So in the US, we have driver's license or state ID, but that's state, not national.
Right. Okay, so that's a little bit more about the game. It's working a bit better, but there are still functions, as I just showed. It looked like I had lost everything temporarily, but it's been restored, and hopefully.
Yeah, and there's another question, like with the passport, like do we have to have our alien number or something with it? If we are like me, living in the United States and paying taxes here, is that enough, or do I have to prove that I'm legally allowed to stay here?
You are legally there, correct?
Yes.
And you know what authority you pay taxes to?
Mm-hmm. But I don't pay to who I have a passport with.
No, it's two different things. If you're kind of declaring your ambassadorship, then you would use your passport, or you mentioned ID. I'm not sure what other number you have there. And if you're doing a cash coin, you're going to be sending something different. You're going to send your QR code and a tax number. You'll probably have a specific tax number and the authority that you pay it to.
But the ambassador would have to be the passport country?
Yeah, or the national ID.
Okay. But would I be an ambassador for a country where I don't contribute cash coins to that country?
No, you would be at the home country. Where do you live?
Yeah, but you just said ambassador, you have to be a citizen.
But you are a citizen, are you not?
In Germany, but not here. In the US, I pay taxes. So where can I be an ambassador?
As I understood it, it's where you are, but you have to have a documentation that you are definitely there. It's not illegal. It's
right. It's talking about multiple passports, people that have multiple passports, but I think
it's not multiple passport.
Right, I know. It's again, you have a passport from the United States. I'm not actually sure.
I don't.
You don't. Okay, no problem.
Okay. What do you have from the United States? What do you have from the United States,
A big tax bill.
Yeah, right. But do you have a document that you use when you're in the US?
She could
Is
have,
still?
she could have lost her mic, or maybe she's not ready to share more on that right now. Okay,
Oh, maybe.
let's go back to the teaching. Any other comments? Please feel free. People do listen to these, and
I'd like to make a little comment.
oh, I'd like to hear it. Thank you.
The tax number for USA is your Social Security number, SSD.
Yes.
For Canadians is the Social Insurance number. Don't give your passport; they don't need it because it has no relevancy to paying taxes. When you pay taxes to your government, they don't ask for your passport; they ask for your security number. So in the States, it's the SSD. In Canada, it's the SIN. And so when you file your tax return, there's only one number you put in, and that is your security number. Same thing with Canada. And now, if you're a citizen of another country, it's irrelevant. If you work in Germany, you have a security number, so you have to give them that number. So you're earning income. Let's say you're earning income in Europe, you have to give them that number. So it assumes you're working there. But since you're not working in Germany, you don't need to give that number. If you receive retirement earnings, benefits, social, whatever in the USA, you have to provide them your USA security number. That's all. It's as simple as that.
Was that simple enough?
And I just missed it because I answered the phone call. So I didn't,
Yeah,
but I can look it up later.
Yeah,
you
you
can.
can. It's your Social Security number, your SSD, is the one that is used for your taxation purposes
Right.
in the United States. In Canada, it's the SIN, which is similar to the U.S. system. And all they need is your your security number, and that's the number that the U.S. government uses to calculate your income, social security benefits, et cetera, et cetera. So just give them that number. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, the question was whether about the ambassador thing. If the ambassador can only be one for the country that they're born in, or that they hold the passport to, or the one that they pay taxes to.
No, it's where you pay taxes. So you're an ambassador, and you're, let's say, stationed in Germany.
Yeah.
So you pay taxes wherever you pay taxes to. If you pay taxes to the German government, you have to give them your tax number.
Right. Okay. That clarifies it. Just wherever we pay taxes to, I can even be
exactly. So let's say you're an ambassador to Germany from the United States, and the United States pays you. You're stationed in Germany. The U.S. pays you. So it's your U.S. security number that they want.
Right.
Whoever gives you the money, that's the security number you need to provide. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So are there a couple of things going on here? In other words, you get a gift of coins, let's say 10 coins for test or whatever. Now an email goes to your government and says you have the right to claim a percentage of the coins this person will receive over a lifetime, right? But if the government or the locals don't answer that or say they're not interested in that at this time, what happens to the taxes owed if you spend your coins? Do you have to declare that as an income? Or, I mean, the part you spent. But I'm not clear on that. So there's two things going on. The government has to avail itself of your percentage of the coins that you're going to give over a lifetime, right? They need to respond to that. But then you're given a gift of 10 cash coins right now, or people have received those coins, and let's say they start spending them, what's going to happen?
Good question. Details.
Right. But maybe as they see these numbers grow and as more and more people sign up for it, they're going to see quite a bit of money on the table. And someone is going to claim it, whether it's local or federal. But he said if the federal did agree, the local could claim it, then so on and so forth. But then they may come back and have an argument over that in the future. But that between.
So you're saying then wherever you're using the infrastructure of a country, like I would go on taxis and the roads are there and all the rest of that. So wherever you are, that is also a home in a way. And if you have citizenship in two countries, what do you do? That's another issue. But in my case, I live in only one of them, and it's kind of a problem.
So these are some of the things we need to understand more and how they're going to work out. But we're just popularizing, again, early comers to this whole process, and we're fortunate to be able to share it of what's coming. But the plan is being laid out. We just need to, the gift is there. It's already been basically made. We have to open the package and start exploring it. Okay, let's go back to hear what Mr. Keshe is saying, if we can. Any other comments? Thank you, Gail. Thank you, Elias. Thank you for a beautiful transcript, always.
Into 10 million, hundreds of millions for government, especially third world nations. We negotiate between countries. We have already started that they accept cash coin in partial payment for services or full services. Systems like water cleanup, systems like using Keshe Foundation internet system for medical application. We can do this because we have the power to do it. The technology is getting set up.
I just wanted to add, you know, governments build a lot of things. Mr. Keshe had mentioned about cosmic stone coming out, which is like a concrete, I guess, but much more lasting and durable. And of course, that's one of the main building ingredients when you're building a dam or a bridge or other things that buildings, you need concrete and so on. So perhaps this will be a way for governments to build things. Buying this, he said it would come out of China, maybe in the future time, and they could use this concrete to not build it once in 10 years or 20 years, but build it once for a century or even longer. He called it cosmic stone. So this would be a way to, again, not use the regular type of expensive concrete and that doesn't last a long time. And the governments could actually pay with their cash coins and build a project that would last centuries, perhaps, with the coin without having to dip into the pocket and the mining and the mixing and the pouring and the trucks and the rest. I don't know how the cosmic stone will appear, but I was just thinking that's a real godsend because concrete is millions and millions of dollars in most projects.
This week, in the new website reopening, you will see a list of jobs which we are offering for the research centers in China. Expertise and the field of expertise we need. If you have, contact us back, and then we structure your interview, understanding you can, and moving you into Chinese research center to start working from 1st of January or first month of January, February of next year.
Has anyone seen what's being referred to this week in the new website reopening? You will see a list of jobs. Anyone see that list of jobs? Maybe it's coming this coming week.
We have moved into directly what we promised, and the cash coin has become the backbone of the work. Please follow. Many of you have received the offer, the gift of the coin. Now you know it's 10 coins, but you need to give us feedback that we can allocate. You have to register with the association that makes you eligible to use the coin. It's an internal coin. And then we get your governments to sign into the Keshe Foundation Association the same, that they can use the allocation and claim the 100,000 per individual registered. Remember one thing. Once you sign yourself in this system, you can sign your wife, your daughters, your children, your grandchildren with their authorization into the system. and they start receiving the 30 coin, 10 coin, 20 coin, 50 coin, your parents, your grandparents. At this moment of time, it might not be able for you to value much, but in the coming time, as we connect the Keshe coin to stock market valuation of the Keshe Foundation, organizations owned in Market Corporation and in Shanghai Corporation, and in connection to production of materials, rare earth materials which you produce, it gains value. It's very much like when the Bitcoin came in, a lot of people dug it and they put it away and they forgot about it, and now that it's gained values of 50, 60, 100,000, they're all looking for it. Now, you're in the same position. Claim it, store it. This year, you might be able to spend 1,000 of it, next year 10,000 of it, and then gradually build up the situation. And this is for your benefit, your family benefit. So you increase, but every member of your family has to register with the Keshe Foundation Association. Your parents, for the first time, as I said, on the Keshe Foundation store opening, you get access to the Chinese website of the Keshe Foundation gradually in the next few weeks. You can buy a product directly from Chinese side. We have many knowledge seekers which produce products, and they become resellers of the Keshe Foundation. You can ask our team to connect your shop to our shop, and we arrange services that in that place, part of your products can be in a way paid by Keshe coin, and we back you to do it. You have companies who can benefit by the Keshe coin. Register your companies again. You work for associations, register yourself, that we can connect your companies into Keshe coin, and you can ask your staff to register for a Keshe coin. Follow the same system. We have to have them to register at the association that they're part of the Keshe Foundation structure. We cannot give coins to people who have not registered. And secondly, we need to know which authorities your company, your loved ones, your institute works that claims the coin, that we pay directly within a few weeks or whatever the coins to the authorities. It's their treasury, and we follow it, how they spend it, who they spend it with, and it doesn't get coupled up because everything is transparent. I thank you for being with us, supporting us, and now we entered what we promised. Your registration with what we gifted you brings your government, your nation, as part of the Keshe Foundation to claim, to bring the structure in that we can move to the next step. I thank you for all your support for past years. And now we entered working as one nation, one planet, one race. Thank you very much.
Okay, any other thoughts, questions, comments? Again, we're just the...
Yes, Mark. I'm just checking. He did say that it's the association and everyone has to be a member. Is that correct?
That is correct. We cannot give you the coins unless you're a member of the association. So
okay,
we don't step on our own feet.
Mm-hmm. And that means that everything will be under all clarity, and any auditing will be clarity for everyone to see. Okay.
Yes. Any other comments? We've covered the association. We've covered the game, and a little bit other things within it, like the QR code. And again, I don't understand it all. I've actually shied away from QR codes for whatever reason. But it is quite efficient, as he said, rather than typing in all the numbers. But it's just me, of course. All right, any other thoughts or comments? Maybe we should see the coin video that we're all talking about and some of the deeper reasons that you can feel proud to support this coin in so many ways. It's a beautiful presentation and what it means for humanity. Let's see, I had it. I think it's around 2 minutes and something. We're going to move the other screen back here. Okay, I think it starts here. So let's just, again, take a look at this coin if we can. I'll move the screen shortly. I'm just sort of bringing it up here. And again, we put the link in the chat for YouTube. It has created 6 different videos. And this is one of the later ones.
Every government carries the responsibility of protecting its people. Healthcare, education, public safety, infrastructure, the environment, the future of the next generation. But every year, these responsibilities grow faster than available public resources. The challenge is no longer only economic, it is structural. When citizens cannot clearly see how public resources become public value, trust begins to disappear. And when governments lack transparent and efficient tools, essential public services become more difficult to deliver. The challenge is not only creating more wealth, it is creating more trust. Now imagine a different possibility. A transparent framework where citizens and governments participate together under law, with accountability, independent auditing, and measurable public benefit. At the center of this proposed framework is Keshe Coin. In this proposed model, each eligible citizen receives an allocation of 1,000 Keshe coins. Each Keshe coin is presented with a fixed internal value of 1,000 euros. The presented total value therefore becomes 1 million euros. Governments and private companies are invited to formally join the Keshe Foundation at keshefoundation.at. 100 coins is given to the government national treasury of the individual participating and registering and accepting the Keshe coin. Citizen allocation remains at 1,000 Keshe coins. In addition, governments can request Keshe coin for infrastructure and national projects, which will be granted on approval. There is no hidden taxation. It is a transparent public allocation established by law and public agreement. Public value is measured by what citizens receive: healthcare, education, safe infrastructure, scientific research, environmental restoration, technology, opportunity, human dignity. A transparent digital treasury allows citizens to understand how public resources are being used, how much entered, where it was approved, how much was released, who completed the work, and who independently verified the result. Transparency creates confidence. Confidence strengthens society. The future is not built by governments alone. It is not built by citizens alone. It is built when responsibility, technology, law, and trust work together. Participation creates connection. Connection creates cooperation. Through the peace game, people around the world may contribute to a shared digital ecosystem. Verified participation may become eligible to receive Keshe coin. This is not competition, it is cooperation. It is participation, it is contribution. Participants who actively take part in the global network system will be eligible to receive 30 Keshe coins each year. The One Nation Network device allows individuals and institutions to participate in expanding the global infrastructure. Verified network operators may become eligible to receive annual Keshe coin rewards. The network grows because people participate, not because they speculate. Future annual activity income may be taxed according to national law. Every participating country may establish its own fair taxation policy. The objective is fairness, transparency, and sustainable public services. The initial public allocation and annual taxation remain separate. The same income is never counted twice. In participating countries, citizens may be permitted to pay approved public obligations using Keshe coin. Every transaction is secure, verified, recorded, auditable. Technology supports public administration. It does not replace the rule of law. Governments entering formal agreements may use Keshe coin within approved international cooperation. medical equipment, food, technology, scientific services, infrastructure. Digital settlement occurs only after verified delivery. Transparency protects both sides. When disaster strikes, transparent public resources may respond faster. Every emergency allocation should remain traceable, audited, and accountable, helping people when they need it most. When citizens participate, when governments remain transparent, when technology serves humanity, a stronger society begins to emerge. Trust, participation, responsibility, knowledge. A stronger society is not built only by punishment. It is built through opportunity, education, healthcare, community, employment, and hope. When people have access to opportunity, many of the conditions that contribute to crime can begin to decline. The greatest investment any nation can make is education. A knowledgeable society creates a stronger economy, better government, and a more peaceful future. Technology has value only when it improves human life. It should reduce suffering, protect the environment, expand knowledge, and help humanity move forward together. The future belongs to those who protect the planet while building it. Environmental restoration is an investment in future generations. Trust grows when governments remain transparent, when every public project can be verified, when every citizen can see results. The future cannot be built by governments alone. It cannot be built by citizens alone. It is built together. Responsibility, knowledge, trust, cooperation. United under the Keshe Foundation and Keshe Coin, governments and individuals stand mutually accountable, working as one society to build a transparent, peaceful, and sustainable future. Different nations, different cultures, different languages, but one shared future. One nation, one planet, one race. When humanity is finally free to think beyond survival, the human soul may begin to elevate. A peaceful civilization does not only build better cities, it builds better human beings. Knowledge, compassion, responsibility, and wisdom become humanity's greatest achievements. The next great journey of humanity is not only across the earth, it is toward understanding, toward existence, toward creation, toward the infinite universe. When knowledge and peace walk together, humanity can carry not only technology, but consciousness itself into the stars. Keshe Coin, a proposed framework where people and governments may work together to build a transparent, peaceful, scientific, and sustainable future. The future is not something we inherit. It is something we choose to build.
Let's say our government gets 10 Keshe coins. What is there to stop the ones who are not in honor and taking, let's say, one Keshe coin and putting it to his brother's construction company for a government proposal to build something? How is that going to be stopped?
Well, it does seem to me like there's a lot of checks and balances, not that they can catch all abuses or abuses won't happen, but it's going to be heavily monitored and they're going to find out where this went. You mean like if he takes it down to the local casino or something? And
No, like a politician says, okay, the government's going to build a housing complex here, but all his cousins get the contract for building it all, right? He keeps it within the family, so to speak.
Yes.
Maybe they also have to sign the peace treaty.
Now there's a point.
And also it be monitored, the transactions will be monitored, and the completion of the projects will be monitored. Who did it and when it was completed?
Right. I don't know where they'd come up with an idea like that, Randy, but I'm sure there'll be a lot of checks and balances.
There will. And what about quality of workmanship? Different
Yeah,
things?
all that.
Yeah.
Yes. We've heard so many inspectors from Venezuela to even in the United States and other places, bridges and so on, approve certain things, even though it was substandard, and they've gotten bribed and the rest. So hopefully this will be a much more trusting relationships between governments and people. And as he said, the work is going to be verified independently. So there'll be a lot of trust in this whole system. It's, again, a system we can trust and a system we can believe in. Any comments anyone would like to make? And I just thought, should we listen to some of the teaching? It is about the time for the Dome of Peace, which is what we do every day. You can take 1 nanosecond of your life and so on. There's so much more to share, but that was the basics. We're just trying to promote the game. It's in the early stages. It needs 12 to 24 months to smooth the process out. But now we know people have gotten $10,000 worth of cash coins for a mere €5 or €1 in the association. So good luck with that. Spend a little bit of it, reserve some of it. As he said, you can do what you'd like. And I think everybody's going to be happy. It's going to be a win-win, mutual benefits and satisfaction, not only for you, but for the governments. As we see what the United States is in, $40 trillion in debt cannot be paid off. It'll probably have to be put into some sort of bankruptcy reorganization unless the whole structure collapses. So many ways out, again, well thought out. This is not something written since Bitcoin and the rest. This has probably been used other places in a way in the universe. I'm not sure. We don't know, but this does seem like a much better structure than we have now, where a few people gain a lot and many don't gain at all, or actually go backwards and continue to struggle. So again, survival will become a human right. And through this system, it can be accomplished. Won't be tomorrow, but it's coming. And it all depends, of course, how the governments respond and how we respond to promoting and
Is it known yet if those videos are translated to different languages?
I thought on YouTube, if it was less than an hour, you could translate it into a number of different languages. I don't know if every single language is there, but basic ones, maybe somebody knows.
I didn't see that.
Yes. Yep.
I just saw that on the main website, the Keshe.Foundation website, there is farther down, there is something to the KFTV, and there you can play YouTubes, and there is some kind of a translation function, but I don't know if it applies to these.
Okay.
I didn't see these there.
Yeah, they normally all can be, I guess, if they're under an hour and your language is included, and that's expanding as well, the number of languages that you can convert them into, as far as I understand it. And again, I know very little about these mechanisms.
Okay.
But anyone can share. Okay, we'll be putting some of these other offerings, the creation of black holes, formation of the Universal Council. I think this is just, I stopped the video at a certain place here. There it is. Yeah. So we're going to put these into the chat. We've had this, the World Peace Treaty will also share in there. We put the tutorial in and so on and so forth. So, maybe we'll just take an overview of the cosmic mechanics in a way. I think this is Cosmic Mechanics of the Soul, it's entitled. This is a summary of the workshop, but again, the workshop was so well too. Maybe we'll just hear something from the workshop where Mr. Keshe was a student in college and he sort of asked some questions, which he's asking the knowledge seekers today. He was talking about absolute zero and so on. Where is our workshop? I think if we go to somewhere around 40 minutes, we'll hear a little story told by Mr. Keshe regarding some of his time in college, where again, he was even more advanced than most of his professors. So let me bring up the transcript and just move that over to about 40 minutes. And we'll hear a bit of a story of Mr. Keshe was asking quite inquisitive, provocative questions, which professors could not even answer. I think it's around let's just do this. Or Gail, would you like to this was something that was created earlier, I believe, today. And this is before we go here, let's say, this is an outline of the Keshe coin implementation and global integration, which is just what was compiled by the AI from the latest Knowledge Seekers Workshop number 654. I don't know if Gail or anyone would like to go through any of this.
Yes, it's very clear. We can do that.
Okay, you let me know how to proceed and we'll follow along.
All right. At the top. Okay. So this is the logical outline of the Keshe coin, the actual Keshe coin implementation and global integration. That's the part that we have to go through. So number one, eligibility and individual registration requirements. We spoke about Keshe Foundation Association membership. Eligibility to receive the Keshe coin is strictly conditioned upon registering with the Keshe Foundation Association in Austria. Fee waivers for developing regions. For seekers in regions where payment facilities are absent or government restrictions apply, such as parts of Africa, Asia, and South America, the Foundation is facilitating fee-free registration. So that is being set up. Registration interface and technical requirements. Registration must be completed through the designated game interface. Users must provide their account's QR code rather than the numbers, okay, that you may see near your QR code. So they want the actual copy of the code sent to them. Okay, to facilitate error-free automated screening and system transfer. So when you pass the QR code to them, every digit is correct. So there won't be any errors when it's put in the system.
I'm still not sure how you would send that QR code, Gail.
You can if you store it or try both. You can either copy or save the QR. So I did it on my system and I found two different versions. There's one that looks exactly like this that you see in front of you here. And then there was one with a whole lot of funny dots on it. So I would take the one that looks exactly like this, and you would have to remember the tax number that you pay taxes to and the authority that you pay to.
Well, where do you send it? Is it someplace in the game? He said they
No,
someplace that you could send it.
it's your email that you receive will request you to send that, and they will give you, yeah. And we know, I think Elias was saying we have to be careful. I'm not sure what their email system is. Hopefully they are going to make sure that it's safe. I'm sure they will be looking at that.
But no worries at this time unless you've received Keshe coin, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right. So then we have to give our QR code as we see it, that funny looking thing, and not give them the numbers. Okay, and then adults must use unique email addresses. I'm sorry, I actually wasn't clear. When you don't give them the numbers, the problem is sometimes the system, if they're using it that way, sometimes the numbers can become scrambled, I gather. So for some reason, they're using the QR code rather than us making copy. Now, adults must use unique email addresses. So that means you may have a tiny, I don't know about babies, but every single individual cannot register or claim on behalf of multiple adult family members.
So
So
I
you have to have a unique email address for every single member of the family.
so I can't replicate myself even with unique individual emails, right?
No,
That wouldn't
no,
be advisable.
no, yeah. So I mean, they're saying that no one person can register everybody in the family, I gather, on their own email. They must have a separate email for every member of the family. And that makes sense in a way.
But as you
Um,
say, if you have a 2-year-old, obviously they don't have an email address and they can't give consent to coins, but apparently you can set it up for them, yes?
well, in my opinion, I would.
Yes.
Yes, because they start very young these days. And the education system that they want to promote starts at 18 months. So, yeah, probably you will have to do a separate email for them. So then we go to allocation protocols and distribution mechanics. Number one, the birthday gift. Eligible registrants receive an initial one-time gift of 10 coins. I gather that covers all of us. And then we have an annual coin allocations. Registered individuals are entitled to receive 30 coins per year, with distribution beginning on January 1st, 2027. The initial 10 coin birthday gift is excluded from this annual count.
So this is a test from this birthday gift, right? This
That's what I'm thinking,
30
yes.
coins per year with distribution beginning January 1st.
Hmm.
So the 10
So that
coins,
means that anything now, if there's 10 coins given to us now, it is excluded from the count. So then on January 1st, we start over and we will receive 30 coins for 2027. Over, I take it they're doing it.
addition to the
Um,
10 coins you've already received, it sounds like.
yeah, that's what it sounds like. So systematic and randomized distribution. Coins are distributed gradually, averaging 2 to 3 coins monthly, rather than in a single annual sum. Distribution times are randomized in the background to prevent users from developing behavioral patterns of addiction. Oh, that's interesting. Or predictable dependency. So does that mean if I receive it on the 5th of the month and maybe I will receive it on the 20th and nothing in the next month? That's quite interesting. So we have to learn how to look after our distribution of the coin.
Yeah, he's not trying to create a lazy humanity, he said. And if you know that the coins are coming on a certain point in time, then you may sort of lay down until the supply for that month
Yeah.
appears.
So that's very interesting, distribution times. And that means that we know that if we're depending on food, for example, or energy of food, they're not going to leave you hanging in a lurch. But yeah, I'm wondering how that would actually work. That's a very interesting
Or finding
uh,
out.
I
th
think the
thing to
initial
think about.
10,000 is going to be enough for food to
Say
last
that
a while.
again.
The initial 10,000 that will be given should be enough for a lot of food if people need
Oh,
it.
yes, absolutely.
It last a long time.
But it's interesting because now it's almost like, oh, well, I'm fine. I'm going to be watching that part very closely. Okay, family registration. Users can register family members, including spouses, children, grandchildren, parents, and grandparents, to build family-wide allocations. Okay. And they said above that it has to be with permissions. Okay. The government integration and funding model, mandatory tax reporting. Registration requires users to submit their governmental tax authority and personal tax identification number. Okay, so you give the name of the authority that you pay your taxes to, and you give your personal number to them, personal tax identification number.
And
Government coin grants. Yes.
assume that family definition may also apply to members of the military, that their family includes all those people. And not like cousins, uncles, and aunts.
Yeah, because they're very specific about the closeness, aren't they? It's
Right.
the grandparents and great grandparents. I mean, I'm sure that if there were children where the parents had been lost, then the family would take over. So there would have to be a legal document for that.
Just stepping away for a moment, Gail, please carry on.
Continue reading. Okay. Now, okay, so we've got mandatory tax reporting done, government coin grants. Upon a citizen's registration, their national government becomes entitled to 100,000 coins per registration distributed over 10 years, amounting to 10,000 coins per person in the first year. So that's the registration year.
And that's equivalent to what a baby gets, right?
100,000 coins. That's what I'm amounting to. Okay, per person in the first year. Yes, you're right. Okay. For example, if 20 citizens from England or China register, their respective government is entitled to receive 2 million euros worth of coins. So, yeah, 10,000, 100,000.
100,000 each over a lifetime, correct?
Right.
Okay. Right. Yes. Okay. So if I'm just reading that again, 2 million euros worth of coins.
Right.
Okay.
20 citizens, right, from England or China register, their respective government is entitled to 2 million euros worth of coin.
Oh, yeah.
10%,
okay. It just
right?
looked like a zero. It looked like a zero was missing. I'm just checking. Okay. But it will not be all at one time. Okay. That makes sense. Public utility and budget substitution. Governments can pay for Keshe Foundation technologies and services such as water cleanup, hospital construction, and medical internet systems using these coins, bypassing traditional cash budget constraints. So that's where the technology, in fact, will be very, very healthy and strong. National stability and collaboration. This model aims to foster direct collaboration between citizens and their governments. I think that's very good. Offering major developmental funding, particularly to developing nations. So does that mean that, what exactly does the government look like? What does he mean by direct collaboration between citizens and their governments? So there must be a lot of control there because it doesn't happen now. Usually it's just a few that get to interact. All right, economic utility, store integration and valuation. Taxation of holdings. Registrants do not pay taxes on their coins as long as they are held in their wallets. taxes, 10 to 20%, are only declared and paid once the coins are spent as income. So that means that they take taxes from our income, as it seems from this commercial integration. Keshe Foundation Store, a newly upgraded store hosted on Shopify, will accept full or partial payment in Keshe coins. Reseller integration. Third-party merchants can connect their shops to the foundation's network to accept partial payments in Keshe coins backed by the foundation. For me, I would like to be a distribution center, so I wonder if that would be a bit different. I'm not sure. So coin valuation and stability. The coin's value is linked to the stock market valuation of Keshe Foundation organizations, specifically Markray Corporation and Shanghai Corporation, and the production of rare earth materials. So the coin's value is linked to the stock market valuation of the Markrays and the production of rare earth materials. The coin is designed as a secure, stable currency targeted at a value of 1,000 to prevent the speculative fluctuations seen in assets like Bitcoin, where it's up and down all over the place. This is solid, steady, and it does not devaluate. So social, ethical safeguards and anti-abuse measures. Support for the elderly. The system allocates the maximum coin amounts to elderly individuals to alleviate the post-retirement financial stress that contributes to high mortality rates within 6 to 8 years of retirement. Preventing welfare dependency. Random distribution limits reliance. Okay, we did discuss that. Preventing younger generations from refusing to work under the assumption of guaranteed income. Okay. This is inspired by Mr. Keshe's college-era observations of welfare abuse in Manchester. And we experience it here too, for those that manage to get anything. Anti-trafficking and illicit activity safeguards. Coins cannot be easily liquidated or transferred for illicit activities like drug trafficking. Relying on Mr. Keshe's background with the narcotic division of the British government, automated background systems are designed to trace, detect, and block suspicious flow patterns. Well, that'll be very interesting. Operational and technical infrastructure. Security enhancements. The website and shop have undergone security checkups and upgrades to protect against AI-driven hacking attempts. Then we have system expansion units. The network is supported by global physical units with 10 to 15 currently operational, growing to approximately 30 by the end of the month. I'm just reading that again. Network is supported by global physical units with 10 to 15 currently operational. Oh, I see. Growing to approximately 30 by the end of the month. 100 in September, October, and targeting 1,000 by year end.
This is the One Nation Network, correct? This is what
I think so, yes.
the network is
Global physical units. Okay. So 1,000 by year end. System teething issues. Recent difficulties locating the QR code in the game interface are being resolved via a targeted system update. Okay, we're well aware of that one. Operational relationships. Coins are distributed via the Keshe Foundation portal.
Distributed, yes.
Yes. Coins are distributed via the Keshe Foundation portal in the game, not by Mr. Keshe directly. Okay, so that's what happens in the game. Association membership must be renewed annually to maintain eligibility and continue receiving distributions. Okay, I've already, I had to go back to my foundation membership and it didn't show me, but when I put my information back in, then it accepted me again and listed February 10th as my renewal date. So it actually had the information, but I had to start it up again. Okay, academic hiring. The foundation is actively recruiting experts for research centers in China, with safe center operations set to commence in early 2027, so January and February. So anybody who feels they're an expert for research centers, apply.
I think that was the end, unless there's more.
That's the end.
Very nice.
Mhm.
Thank you, Gail, for extending yourself and reading beautifully for all of us. So again,
Well,
it's not something put together by a few billionaires, let's say. And as somebody had complained about the Bitcoin, he said they were out there and they had them, but the amount of transactions were being greatly limited. It's almost like, you have your kitchen sink, but they're only letting a drop of water out instead of opening the full flow. So people couldn't actually use the Bitcoin as easily as it was once envisioned, or somehow it got taken over to limit people's ability to disperse or share the coin or pay for things. I remember one person saying that they were trying to send from Thailand to the Philippines, and it was like 2 weeks to send €100 or something. So
yeah,
they're
I
not.
remember that.
Somebody has hijacked it, or something has gone wrong for the ones in the Bitcoin. But eventually it'll all be subsumed within this coin, even the ones the governments are talking about putting out, like the BRICS or China and so on. Maybe other governments have talked about coins, but this is already well thought out, and it's in a coin for every nation. All right, let's perhaps, any other questions, thoughts, comments? You must have a few. If not, we'll go to create the Dome of Peace, which is, I was going to play the summary, but I think we're going to go to the Dome of Peace. Alex's video is about 45 minutes or so, so we need to include that too. As I said, he's offline for some reason right now, but we're fortunate to have what he shared. I think it was about the myelin as well. Okay. So hopefully this has given you a little bit more in depth, and for myself as well. And now we're coming to the Dome of Peace. And this is a project instigated by Mr. Keshe, the Keshe Foundation, where we use our physicality and we use our dimension of energy to sort of create the strength of peace, or the energies of peace on this planet, through the collective awareness, and we will see it eventually manifest in the matter state. He said, until we see the one planet, one nation, one race, we're going to call it the Keshe Foundation. So this is an invitation where every day at 9 p.m. Central European Summer Time, we usually key off of that time, Central European Summer Time, we collectively gather, again, for 1 nanosecond, for 1 minute, whatever you'd like, whatever befits you, and add your energies, elevating souls of world leaders and religious leaders. Again, working in that energy dimension, which we're just opening up the understanding about. As he said, we're opening up the mystery of the matter state of the entity to its energy dimension. So this gives you a chance every day to explore. And of course, in this process, you actually become elevated as well. We understand there's no giving without receiving. And of course, you're not doing that for that reason, but it's just a natural process. No giving without receiving. So we're elevating these souls. Again, it's not a day job. It's not putting the chicken in the oven and it's all done in 45 minutes. Chinese knowledge seekers and others have been doing it for over a decade, and we continue this process until we reach a permanent peaceful position of all inhabitants, including the soul of this planet. So we continue this process. the Brazil team, as I said, it's a two-step process, one for the physicality, one for the energy dimension. And on every Sunday, we're collectively releasing GANS waters. And if you're not sure what that is, you can go on the Keshe Foundation wiki and look up on making a gas as a nanosolid and some of the other energies in a way that you can gravitate. He even talked about bringing out a measuring device this week. And then on Wednesday, they use, and every day, they use the power of the soul in an actual physical meeting on Telegram or in YouTube, I believe, where you can join this group and become part of it, add your energies to it, and help to bring the change. You may have the fields that are needed, or in combination with other fields that actually touch another soul. And this is the dimension we'll use once you're operating in that energy sort of dimension. So something for the physicality to do, something for the energy center to do, or the control center. Beauty of this process is nobody fails this test. So whether you think you've done something or you haven't done something, you certainly are. If this is your intention to elevate others, we're not looking for results. We're just going through the process of understanding our energy fields and how we can actually apply them. And of course, there's been so much about our own reactors, our own magravs. Again, the lymph, the eyes, the lung, the heart, the sound, the brain, the soul, and so many other things that the breathing, as he said. So let's go to the two steps again, a twinity system. The first is releasing of GANS waters, which collectively we do on Sunday, or you can do it at any time. Carry a spray bottle, release the GANS waters. It's just, again, beyond our intuition that fields that are in that water, and you've put good intentions within it, can actually go somewhere, do something, and bring balance. Apparently, they have their own way of understanding or a modicum of intelligence. But this is the first step of the creating the dome of peace. And this is something for the physicality to do.
I don't know if anyone want to read this dome of peace. Anyone want to offer?
I
With
will
a nice
read it
voice.
for you.
Okay.
This is what came in and what is now become a pattern. This is from a guy, I don't know him, but he says, please remember this Sunday and every Sunday from now on, till we raise the soul of this planet to a peaceful planet. Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers worldwide will spread the gas waters around the world at 12 p.m. Central European Time and or 18 p.m. Central European Time every Sunday at the same time as they choose which time to suit them. Thank you for participating in this greatest movement by the soul of the man to bring about the peace on this planet as the permanent feature of the life of this planet.
Okay, everyone's familiar with that. Any questions? Now we'll go to the second step of creating this dome of peace. And of course, the One Nation Network is part of this net or network of peace that's being created. As he said, some units will go to the highest mountains on this planet. Some will go to the deepest parts of the ocean. Only militaries have those capabilities and will be embedded in there so that everything on this planet will sort of be encompassed in this network of peace. Not that everyone will turn peaceful overnight, but they'll be in an environment which will be conducive to peace and balance and wellness and the rest. So this is what we're delivering, and you can see how the coin and the game and the rest is all well thought out to make this happen. So this is the second step of the Dome of Peace. Thank you, Stefania, and let's go to hear from Shweta.
Anybody wants to read the Dome of Peace? I mean, Beautiful Souls. Here. Okay. I'll read this beautiful presentation of Dome of Peace. And the Dome of Peace is already here. All the knowledge seekers, truth seekers, lovers of humanity has built it in a way, spreading the guns, loving each other as shareholders. So I will read this as please remember every Sunday from now on until we raise the soul of this planet to a peaceful planet, Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers worldwide will spread the Gans waters around the world at 12 p.m. CET and or at 18 p.m. CET every Sunday at the same time, as they choose which time to suit them. Thank you for the participation in this greatest movement by the soul of man to bring about the peace on this planet as a permanent feature of the life of this planet. Mr. Keshe suggests we add the next step to create the Dome of Peace with power of the souls, as we have already going through this with the 2 eyes. And we ask you to spread the Gans waters each Sunday. Now we give you a new path. Now try to unite each other's souls. Try to elevate the souls of humanity, soul of humanity, through your own soul to a level that no one can touch the embodiment of the human race. So beautiful. Choose a time where all of you come together on the soul level in a state of inner calmness. At that time, don't spread the water of Gans, but spread your soul. Unite, and in time, we will make a new race out of the soul of man. And then, instead of doing it once a week, do it all the time. Keshe.
Okay, thank you again, Shweta. So let's just take 1 minute and just demonstrate how we spread our souls collectively in a peaceful position. So I'll just put the invitation up. Remember, this continues until we see permanent peaceful conditions on this planet. So hopefully we all get to see it, but you may have to wish to live longer to see the fulfillment of it all, or everything completed. And then, of course, it's going to get exported throughout the universe. So let's just take 1 minute of our time, demonstrate this process. I'll bring this little sort of timer I was playing with, and let's just say this circle is the soul of the world leaders, and we're topping them up. We reached 89% or whatever, and now we're just going to take 1 minute of our time. And you can do this frequently during the day, this pulsing, but collectively we're doing it at 9 p.m. And the reason for the collection is because you have a bigger spectrum of fields. Your fields are different than my fields, even though we have some of the same fields. But by putting them together, as we did with the cup of life, combining 3, 4, 5, 6 different cups, we create a wider spectrum of fields, able to balance a wider spectrum of conditions or energies, let's say. So that's why all of us have the different energies, and one or multiple ones or combination of ones may create that balance of fields needed, that the soul picks it up and decides to change something within the physicality of that entity. So we'll take 1 minute and we'll just start now. Any questions? Simple process, physicality not involved. You can be writing a note, you can be riding your bike, you can be making dinner, or whatever you're doing. This is the energy dimension, and we're learning that we are sort of chameleons, and well, more than sort of, and that we can operate either simultaneously or independently in both dimensions. And of course, there's more dimensions than just the two being referred to, but as we mature, we'll understand more about these other dimensions. So let's just take 1 minute. We'll begin now. So again, this is how simple the process can be, and it's any entity as far as I'm concerned. It doesn't mean it's, but right now we're concentrating on world leaders, but any entity has a soul, even a grain of sand has a soul, or a stone has a soul as we understand it, so you can interact in the same way without the physicality so much, as we like to say, working through the energy level is easy and it doesn't take a lot of work. Working through the physicality to accomplish the same thing does take a lot of work and a lot of energy normally. To accomplish the same, we can accomplish in the energy dimension, because this is where the creation starts with, in the energy first. Then the matter appears later on. Any thoughts, questions? This is how easy it is, and we're always successful in this process. So continue to join us. If you know someone who's wishing for peace or would like peace, have them add their fields to what we're doing, what we're all doing, wishing for peace. Any other thoughts or comments? Perhaps we'll, I think we have time. This may be just a short excerpt. We're going to put what Mr. Keshe said about his professors in college, just showing how far advanced he was, even at an early age. But of course, we know a little bit more of the background than I guess the professor's done, where he's been sort of walking around on this planet for much longer than the 18 or 22 years when he was in university. So this is probably where he's picked up some of this knowledge. So we're going to bring up the transcript again, and we'll just go through somewhere around here where he was sort of, and of course he likes to do this with the knowledge seekers as well, sort of pose some, I guess, ontological type questions, this process of existence and consciousness and so on. So let's just take a few minutes and see how far, even at a young age, Mr. Keshe was comparatively to the professors.
Field structure. They tell you one piece of rubbish, which is fact rubbish, but they don't tell you the others which haven't understood.
All right, I don't think this is the right location. Let me just find the right one. I thought I had it as 40 minutes, but yeah, okay. Yes, he was talking about suicide earlier. This is a very good reference of why suicide is forbidden and why it can be tempted as well. If we knew how beautiful it was, we may take that route, but then we find out that we're going to go there partially handicapped for the existence of the soul. So this is one of the reasons suicide is forbidden. Let's continue here.
In the world of physics today, this is what I threw at my professors and people who talked to me when I was a early 20s and teenager, and nobody could answer me. And I explained this by showing it in the nuclear reactors, Queen Mary College, to my professor. And he said, Mehran, walk away. You know too much. We have no answer. And after 40 years, I put the same question to you knowledge seekers. And you understand how much you've been, not misguided, but never understood. The world of the creation works on the matter state. And our scientists tell us one thing. If you go to minus 273 degrees, absolute zero, everything stops. Yes, correct. But they don't tell you something. Magnetic fields carries on. You cannot freeze magnetic fields. The whole universe has places below minus 100 and 270 degrees. Now you understand where the knowledge has been misplaced. And this is where you work with the knowledge of the Keshe Foundation, cosmic ray technology, plasma technology, and you have answer for the other half. You go through all the literatures. You go through all technologies of man, which has gone up to now. You go to fields in the center of the reactors. We see now China is building a temperature of hundreds of thousands of degrees like the center of the sun to give you a fusion and a free energy. which is still, again, magnetic fields. The same when the scientists tell us at minus 273, nothing moves. Physically, everything stops. Yes, matter stops. Magnetic field does not. World of creation feeds you even at minus 273. World of creation still feeds you at 100,000 degrees, billions of degrees, because magnetic fields are never touched by temperature, by pressure. Life exists in the bottom of the oceans, hundreds of thousands of meters below, because those animals don't have the physical body. It's a gas body and is magnetic field and interacts with the fields of it. Does not need light, does not need pressure, does not need anything else. This is part of the world of physics which has never been explained. And this is the battle I had with the world of the science for a long time. You tell us everything stops, all motion stops at minus 273, but magnetic fields doesn't stop. Your soul does not stop working. Magnetic field, the gases are temperature independent. They work without interaction of the fields. It does not matter in the energy field and not in the matter rays state of manifestation. Now you understand where we are going for and what we are trying to explain to you. Your soul can take its place on separation from the soul of the man, or you decide, I want to go and see what's in the center of the earth through your soul, because it has temperature, doesn't affect it. You can go into the deepest oceans and the highest, deepest pressures and the most frozen places in the universe. Your soul still exists, because physicality has a dimension of the restriction of its inertia, its field matter state. Once you become educated how to expand your soul and embed your body within it, you can take your physicality for a tour of the center of the earth, because the eyes shall see, as is the soul transparent from inside. And then I've been there, I went into the ocean, I went into the center of the earth. Of course, it means you have managed to embed the soul of physicality inside, with the physicality inside the soul of the man. Now you understand why we are taking you this way, why every week, step by step, we're peeling the knowledge of the man to get to the center, to his creator, to understand the ethos of Mitra. Every diversion, talk good, think good, act good, diverts you from that position. If you go back to the history of Iran, the biggest crime ever, today they hang people for killing. The biggest crime in the culture of Iran has been lying. Bigger crime than killing. Till the Muslims got their way into Iran and they made the killing as a way of living. Because when you lie, you create a field that diverts. It's just little pushing your soul away from the direction to reach the creator, position to the creator. It's that little jet fires to divert your aircraft or your soul in its path to its creator. Now you understand. To lie, you need to create a field, and that field interacts with the soul, and the soul has to move away from it, the physicality and everything else. Now you see how things are connected to each other. If and once we understand these nitty-gritties, these questions which is burning in the knowledge of the man for centuries, then you understand how we can answer it now that we are opening the knowledge of the creation. Next time somebody tells you everything stops at minus 273, you say, no, it doesn't. Matter state does, but the fields exist, and my soul is that field, has no matter state. Then you understand man can reach anywhere in the universe through the dimension of his soul. Transmutation is not a dream. Transmutation is a reality that you do every night, and then you deny it because you never understood it. Now you understand it. Try to see if you can move the physicality. You have to be detached from the fields of this planet, that you can embed the fields of the motion and emotion of the physicality inside it. Then you find Magra positioning of the soul in respect to the soul of the planet, while the body is embedded within it. Today's teaching is so in depth, it brings and it has brought you new knowledge. Understand how to use it and bring it in conjunction with the rest of what we have taught you in the past, and see how quickly you as knowledge seekers will pass the understanding of the present science, and you become the true travelers. And then the most interesting thing is, as we go back to what has been said in respect to the knowledge of the man, you'll find out you can travel the moon, the Mars, the other galaxies instantaneously, and you don't need to do, as it was in the Star Wars, 9 and 6 and whatever else, to go and cross the universe in 1 million years, in 1 year, and the rest of it. You can reach the corners of the universe. You can reach the heart of the Creator in seconds that you cannot even count, millionths of a second. Man puts restriction on the speed because, again, he has expanded his knowledge a little bit. He can accept that much, but he cannot go further. Up to recently, planet Earth and universe was 4.5 billion. In the teaching, I explained this impossibility. And now we see in the past year or two, science, listens to the Keshe Foundation, has changed the direction. Now the universe is 13 billion. The universe is much, 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 much older than 13 billion. Then you understand you can carry the soul of the Creator and be as young as him, because there's no time. Time doesn't exist. It's only man who's got busy with the rotation of this planet and the age of it, which has created for himself. The soul is always as young as the day he was born. And it has the same systems as you have in your body. You have a kidney, you have a liver, you store energy, you take energy, you clear energy. The soul has the same system. It has a system which gathers the liquid, gathers the surplus energy. It has a system which creates as a storage and the rest. When you want to see the function of your soul, how it is, it's not just a ball of energy. Look at the solar system. It has a center. It has planets which capture the outer boundary things. We call it Jupiter and Saturn. And then we have the Earth, and which confirms the existence. So you see your soul. And they all work together, and they all function in some one way or another to create their position. Even your soul, being a ball of energy, has the same system functionality, but in energy level, that in a matter state. It has kidney, it clears materials, doesn't need. It takes energy from outside. Our solar system doesn't get all its energy from the center. Where do you think all these materials come in? All the energy is coming from the galaxies and from the universe into us. It just goes, touches everything else except our system? No. The same as you and me take 80% of our energy from our environment. It's the same thing with our solar system. It takes, regurgitates its own material, planets, meteorites, and the rest, but it takes energy from outside because they dictate how they go. If one day mankind sits outside and look at the planet Earth magnetic field and look at the magnetic field of our solar system, you see it is like a wobbly jelly. It's not the way they tell you. because depends which star, which galaxy our planet and our galaxy is interacting with, and we get whooped. The way the gravitational magnetic field of the Earth drag the energy of the soul of the man and creates the physicality of the man. The same thing happens to our solar system. The same thing happens to our Earth. There is no exception. If the soul of the man created the physicality of the man by interacting its fields with the field of inertia of the planet Earth, the same shape exists between our solar system and the central field of the galaxy. Are we part of the cell of the kidney of the solar system or this galaxy? That's why we see, they tell us there are a cluster of stars which behave that way. That cluster is a kidney. That cluster is a heart of the system. That cluster is one of the cells of the kidney because it has to be there because it absorbs energies, or vitamin C, which is, or calcium, which is too much in the blood of the universe. There is no difference in knowledge. It's only man who has made restriction in understanding the totality of the creation and made man in the image of myself. If man has a kidney, if man has a system to filter out what is being used, if the man needs a heartbeat that it can circulate the field of the what we call energy of the universe around, if the man needs a digestion system, if the man needs a lung to breathe in the environment exist, so the same functionalities within the soul of the man and the same functionalities within the structure of the creator of the man. Now you understand. You have to take this shackle of restriction because they tell you, and look beyond, and then you will see what we see as teachers. You become the teacher of your own soul. You become the teacher of your own understanding of the world of the creation. We are not here to make profit out of ourselves to become messengers. And we are not here to make profit to live in the luxuries of the world of the universe. I made man in the image of myself. What is within me is within what I have created. Intelligence, justice, love. And that's what is the essence of me as the creator. Now you understood more today about yourself and what and how you attach yourself to this planet and how you are connected to the field of the universe. Try to understand how you can bring a balance and justice between your soul and your soul of physicality and your physicality. You'll travel the span of universe in time that no man needs a walk 10, 20 or billions of years. Instantaneously, you reach the heart of the creator. We go for a break and we come back. And we try to understand more about our own world of creation in the future and as time comes. Rick, would you take us for a break and we come back?
Okay, so the universe seems to have a lot of replication or copying in a way. Solar system, universe, body of the man, soul of the man, the creator, all works very much in a very similar way. So the universe is sort of copying itself in a way, as I see it. So very beautiful. Maybe we'll listen to Ed's summary of the entire workshop, and then we'll go to Alex's teaching, which is about a 10-minute summary. But as he said, we need to practice, but don't we practice? I think that's in Ed's video as well. We practice every night when we go to bed. It's just why aren't we doing it when we're awake? So we're learning more about this, but I think we can. We just switch back and forth. It's in the energy dimension. And it's probably much easier than we thought it was. But we're already doing it. It's every night. So let's go, if we can, to Ed's video called Mechanics of the Soul, Cosmic Mechanics of the Soul. And this is the AI summary by Notebook LM. Thank you, Notebook LM and Ed. Beautiful jobs being done here. I think, anyway. Any comments on this? We'll listen to it again. It's 11 minutes. And then we'll go to Alex's teaching. So we've certainly thrown a lot up. Hopefully, some of it you've taken and internalized it and pondering it a bit more. Any thoughts, questions, or comments? The fun is just beginning.
Welcome back to this explainer, everyone. Today, we're embarking on a really profound, almost meditative journey. We're going to bridge the deeply intimate space of the inner physical brain straight out to the vast, infinite expanse of the universe. Based on the incredible materials provided in the teachings, we're diving into the absolute mechanics of our energy, our existence, and how we physically plug into the cosmos. So settle in, get focused, and let's explore the true architecture of our reality. Let's kick things off with a pretty profound thought straight from the teachings, just to set the tone for this exploration. The quote is, "I made man in the image of myself. Intelligence, justice, love." Now you have to understand, this isn't just nice poetry, right? It's actually a literal structural blueprint. Because as we'll see today, the very essence of this intelligence and justice governs not just human morality, but the literal hard physics of how our bodies interact with the stars. Phase 1, the cosmic blueprint within. Okay, so let's get our core definitions straight. The foundation defines the soul of the man, or the STM, as the true central energy control hub connecting us to the universe. Conventional science, it focuses heavily on the physical brain, but the teachings show us the brain is merely the physical control center. The soul is the energy control center. On the flip side, you have the spirit of physicality, or STP. That's the mechanism that takes this absorbed cosmic energy and actually converts it into physical matter, literally creating your muscle tissue, your bones, and your limbs. Now, picture this. The soul acts exactly like a planetary core, sitting deep down inside the center of your brain. The physical form you have, your legs, the way you stand, is actually determined by these magnetic gravitational field lines stretching downward. The soul is pulling these fields down, interacting with Earth's gravity and inertia. It is quite literally shaping our physical bodies based on our exact distance from the Earth's core. And here is where it gets incredibly mind-bending. This reveals a totally fractal reality, because this core energy structure doesn't just exist that one time in the center of the brain. According to the teachings, every single cell in your body possesses its very own individual soul and energy center. The local spatial position of each tiny cellular soul, how it interacts with its immediate environment and the planet's pull, that dictates the exact physical form of our internal organs. It's molding the precise shape of your liver, your kidneys, your lungs. It's an entire universe inside you. But here's the absolute kicker. 80%. We constantly think our physical bodies are powered entirely by the physical food we eat here on Earth, right? Well, the foundation reveals that a massive 80% of our vital energy is actually absorbed directly from the universal environment and cosmic space, not from our diet. Our physical life is essentially an ongoing process of fueling reactors to accumulate field energy. Moving on to phase 2, sleep as a cosmic rehearsal. This completely reframes something humanity has feared for millennia. The teachings redefine what we actually call physical death. Death is simply an involuntary anti-gravity state. It's just the moment the physical body finally gathers enough energy to reverse its relationship with gravity and detach the soul. This is a heavy contrast with transmutation, which is a voluntary balancing of these fields. Transmutation allows the central energy of the soul to be totally free to access any dimension in the universe without losing the physical body. And the fascinating thing is, we practice this separation every single night. Sleep is quite literally a cosmic rehearsal. When we sleep, the energy balances out between our physicality and our soul, allowing the soul to travel on its own energetic track. But it maintains a vital energetic anchor tied right back to our sleeping physical body. So we are basically early learners, practicing this energetic detachment for decades of our lives. Which brings us to a really striking, almost surreal metaphor from the teachings regarding why suicide is strictly forbidden. The quote says, "It's just sending a man with one leg out to do a marathon race. It violently ejects an immature, partially made soul out into space way before it's finished gathering the universal energies it needs for the journey. The physical vessel absolutely must mature fully, starting from the exact minute the soul is created in the womb, just to prep for this eventual cosmic takeoff." All right, phase 3, GANs and the plasma state. You know how modern science claims that at absolute zero, minus 273 degrees Celsius, everything freezes and all physical motion just completely stops? Well, the foundation reveals the other half of physics. While physical matter certainly freezes, magnetic fields carry on entirely independent of temperature. The universe is completely full of places way colder than absolute zero, and the energetic fields of creation just continue to flow and feed life completely unhindered. We can actually see a real-world example of this principle right here in our own oceans. Think about the organisms thriving in the most extreme ocean depths. They don't need light, they don't need massive physical pressure-resistant shells. How? Because they possess a GANs, or gas in a nanostate body. They function purely on these indestructible magnetic gravitational fields, completely independent of the intense environmental pressure and the freezing cold. Now, take that concept back to us. Because the human soul is a magnetic field, it has no matter state, it's completely unaffected by temperature. So through voluntary transmutation, the soul can expand to completely envelop the physical body. By shielding the physical matter within the soul's field, it detaches from Earth's gravity. That allows for instantaneous travel to the moon, Mars, anywhere, bypassing physical speed limits entirely and just traveling at the speed of the fields. Finally, phase 4, the macrocosmos and the ethos of Mitra. This is where we see the ultimate fractal nature of creation on a massive scale. It's beautifully surreal to realize that the macrocosmos perfectly mirrors our own inner biology. Galaxies and solar systems literally have internal organs. Star clusters function as specific cosmic organs, like kidneys, filtering excess cosmic elements right out of the blood of the universe. And exactly like us, our solar system absorbs 80% of its energy directly from the external galactic environment. It's all connected. So, to safely navigate this vast interconnected cosmic biology, one must follow a very specific moral geometry. The teachings call this the ethos of Mithra. It's a profound yet incredibly simple 3-step path of absolute integrity. Talk good, think good, and act good. And listen, this isn't just a gentle philosophical guideline. It's mechanics. Because every single thought, word, and action you take creates an energetic field that interacts directly with your soul's trajectory. So, what actually happens when we deviate from this ethos? Lying isn't just a social faux pas. It literally has energetic physics attached to it. When you lie, it creates a discordant energetic field that acts exactly like a jet fire thruster on an aircraft. It physically pushes and violently diverts your soul, completely off its true direct course toward the Creator. It's literal turbulence. Well, we've traveled from the deepest center of the human brain all the way to the edges of the universe today. So I want to leave you with this final thought to really contemplate. Have you established complete balance between your soul and your physical body to instantly reach the heart of the Creator? Take a moment. Let that linger. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I truly hope it sparks a new harmony within your own wondrous, expanding universe.
So how come we're so comfortable and it's so natural when you lay down, you just go right off many times in that energy dimension, even if you don't remember your dream or anything else. We're so comfortable doing it that way, but not so much when we're conscious. But I think we're just going to have to replicate that process more and more and understand it. But the idea of the talk good, the think good, and again, acting good, you think this is something abstract. And as Mr. Keshe indicated, that all the Christians missed this gift that was in the holy books from the three wise men from Persia. It wasn't a gift of matter state, of incense or precious metals or precious oils. It was what we're seeing on the screen right there. The talk good, the think good, and the act good. And then, of course, as you complete this process, you'll feel proud of the work you do, or in completion of it, let's say. You'll feel proud of the person you are, and you'll feel proud of the difference you're making as we understand our work is correct and forever. So continue to practice this. The idea, I think it provides quite a bit of shielding and so on. Any thoughts, comments, questions, frustrations? Issues you'd like to bring up, feel free. All right, if not, I think we'll go to Alex's teaching. And unfortunately, Alex is detained or somewhere doing something else. And no problem, he sent us this video. I'm going to join on the other system because if I go into full screen, I lose my first screen. This isn't positioned exactly, and I don't know how to make it the right size for the screen. Okay, so let's listen. This is about 42 minutes. This is Alex's teaching on melanin, which we understand is part of the melanin, the colors on your skin, which is an energy absorber, like the nano, handing it off to the myelin, handing it internally to the lymph, and so on. I don't know what's in here. I haven't seen it, but thank you, Alex, for your continuing contributions to the teaching and sharing your understanding of it. Any comments? Anyone missing Alex, like me? He'll be back hopefully in the fall. So here we go.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is the Keshe American Knowledge Team meeting of 2026. So let's see if we can get to the business here.
Disclaimer: the information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GAN's processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
Welcome everyone to the Keshe American Knowledge Team meeting of 2026. And today we begin a new series. So thank you all for being here. It's a very important time in the universe, and you are all part of it. So I really appreciate you all being here. We're beginning a new series here. This is the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute Teachings on Plasma Science. We are discussing advanced matter tech. Subject today is melanin. My name is Alexander. I am from Canada. It would be August the 9th of 2026. This is part of the Keshe Foundation North America Plasma Education Series. So as we continue, we don't want to leave anybody behind, and this is the rule. We were discussing up until last week the intermediate matter tech, and we talked about the Lord of the Rings, plantations, screwworms, capillaries, marrow, and cascades was the finish. And if we recall, when we were doing the intermediate, the advanced picotech, we discussed margins, modulation, X factors, bagels, excommunication, and we were looking for champions. So here we are today. We're beginning a new topic, melanin. And as we continue on this journey, we're diving into deeper understanding. Keep talking about the rings of duality. And what do we mean by that? Is that there are two rings, and they're both magravs. Both the relationship, one is magnetical and one is gravitational. So today we're going to focus on one of the rings, and so we keep coming back to this singularity, and we have to understand that the rules of singularity apply in duality, and then that's where the synergy takes place. But in the universe, the basic matter is the principal matter, which we call PMTechs, and they are magnetical. And they travel everywhere throughout the universe. They're energy packs, and they are diluting right across the universe as a force field. And then they come together and merge as antimatter, dark matter, and matter gen. In that convergence, they create a plasma gen. But that plasma gen is of a plasmatic nature. There is a gravitational magrav, which we call the Earth, and the interaction with those two is what we call inertia. And that's how we manifest into the physicality. So we keep repeating this because this is fundamental. And so the whole point is when two forces come together. Well, how do two forces come together from that singularity? So here we have the PMTechs coming together They see the planet, you choose the planet, and you arrive here the way the PM takes you. And the inertia manifestation is regardless of time and distance, but there has been a change. And to understand the difference between concentric rings and spirals, we have to understand that as the satellites rotate around the Earth, they become increasingly more gravitational. Whereas when you look at the cascading rings in the center, it throws an entirely different picture on the whole notion here. So we see that there are overlapping fields. There are gravitational spirals and magnetical cascading circles. But we're going to be talking about the magnetical aspect of it. And in order to do that, let's review just very briefly the cascade. A cascade means a waterfall, a small waterfall, a fast downward flow, or a chain of events where one thing triggers the next. So in water and nature, a small steep waterfall or a series of small falls fall over rocks. A chain reaction is a process where one event, action, or signal causes another, like falling dominoes or fallen angels. Large amounts, of course, offer a great rush or heavy downpour of things, such as water, light, or hair falling. So there are many ways to look at this, but the cascade refers to a process where things fall, flow, or happen in a sequential series, and that's the key. And so synonyms for cascade include waterfall, torrents, or gush, depending on whether you mean a physical flow or a chain reaction. So today's topic is melanin, which is a natural pigment that gives color to human hair, skin, and eyes. Specialized cells called melanocytes produce this pigment to help protect the body by absorbing and scattering harmful ultraviolet radiation from the sun. There are types of melanin. One is eumelanin, which is brown and black pigments that provide the primary defense against UV radiation. Then there's pheomelanin, red and yellow pigments found in areas like lips and red hair. And then, surprisingly, there's neuromelanin, a specific pigment found in areas of the brain. So this kind of expands our scope beyond what we call the fundamental racism of skin color. So we have to review a couple of things. Remember the failure of the vacuum theory. The vacuum is full of principal matter. And so these are PM ticks, and they have a charge, and that represents energy and motion. And a charge is either negative or positive, but that indicates the direction of flow. It's the surface to volume ratio which dictates whether it's negative or positive. So the higher the ratio, the higher the negative charge. But we have to interestingly understand that there's a negative that gives and a positive that takes. But then again, energy can be flowing or binding. So this we have to take into account when we look at these energy parceling units and how they manifest in matter state. The prime example is the universal solvent, which we call water. It consists of 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen, but they are in balance. They are a MAGRAV, and the 2 little hydrogens and the 1 big fat oxygen still end up with a round parcel. And then let's remember that there's a shearing that goes on. That hydrogen, which is positive, gets sheared off like like a sheep's wool gets sheared off, and it's left with a hydroxyl. And we'll come across this very frequently. So the hydroxyl is actually looking for a home, and it is basically negative because it only has 1 hydrogen and 1 oxygen. So it's kind of short. So it's looking to combine with something, and that's why it's giving of itself. So when we look at the water and how it's formulated, we see that a drop of rain, when it hits the surface of the water, creates this wave motion, comes from the center, which is that magnetical strength which we're talking about, and is imparted through its gravitationally inherent picocore. So we understand from the plasma science how the waves go up and how they go down. But what's interesting is that the waves keep radiating out and the waves get bigger and bigger, although the intensity gets smaller and smaller. So there are factors that are going on, and these are all representative in matter state of the various highways of energy that we have. So we keep focusing on the transmission highway, which is the carbon-12 highway, and we allude to frequencies continually. But the carbon-12 highway seems to be lacking something, and we know that when we get into the transition highway. And this is an important topic for today, because the transition highway is a combination of carbon-14 and carbon-10. So a total of carbon-24. So actually double the number of carbons. But the transmutation highway, which is a higher energy state, again has carbon-16 and carbon-8, and still the total is carbon-24. So that leads us to conclude that the transmission highway is missing something. So we're only looking at half the picture. And that's what we're going to do today in our discussion with melanin. And, we're always missing something. So, we focused over the years on the 10 commandments, and then we find there's another 14 commandments, and for a total of 24. And isn't that interesting? Because we've always been told that, we are fallen angels, falling in through weakness, that is, through faults, failings, and weaknesses. And it leads to this angular density where we have increased pressure and increased gravity, and of course an increased dependence on the Earth space feeding, forgetting where that internal pressure of the Gans fields actually comes from. This is what balances the angular momentum, and therefore that is conserved. So this balancing always comes together as a duality, but in terms of confrontation, we see duals as a duality, where energy manifests as a friction and fists manifest into fighting. This is divisional in our society, and we do that one way is through racism and lying and cheating and stealing, and we wonder, would a chronic liar believe you? This is all part of the inertia density manifestation, and we need to be polite. So gentlemen, please shake hands and then come out fighting. And this is what we're always doing. We're fighting for our energy binding needs. These are very important because they're self-serving to our dimension point, which is me, myself, and I. But when we do this at the expense of others who have the same goals and aspirations, then we're robbing them. And not only do we rob them of Loosh, but we rob ourselves of Loosh at the same time. So this is affecting our emotional and physical capacity and our vitality. And so this vitality capacity requires enhancement. This is where the plasma science comes in, where we advance from the regular energy supplementation to the super. But, you cannot force anything on people. They have to want to do it. So our thinking has to jump out of the box of the old science. In other words, we have to think in terms of levels of magnitude, not just incremental increases. So when we go into the greater and the minor, we find that 10 times is the level of magnitude. And when we go from micro to nano, that's 10 times 10 times 10, that's 1,000 times. And then to the pico, it's another 1,000 times. So we see that the plasma science is extending our knowledge and our understanding of how energy flows by many, many orders of magnitude. And this is far more effective, far more efficient, and covers a greater area. And we will see what's happening because we are in the beyond Beijing era, when in 2025 we demonstrated the production of gold. And that's how the gold rush began. But in 2026, we added the silver rush. And now we are talking about rare earths and other things. And all of this, we have to keep in mind, was achieved with obsolete singularity technology. So we have advanced quite a lot in the last couple of years, very significant because we are following the principles of the picoatomic structure, which takes us beyond the nanomonatomic state. There is a pico beacon, which has the gravitationally inherent field strength, like of the raindrop, and then there's an emission array, like the waves created by the raindrop. So it comes from that nebulous blurry point in the nanogap, and now we wonder, is the point or the gap more important? So our discussion continues on the books of KAKT Keshe, book number 1, The Universal Order of Creation of Matter, the coming together of the antimatter, dark matter, and matter state. And we are still very matter state focused, and that continues as part of this advanced matter tech series. The structure of light in book number 2 shows us how we go from one matter state to another matter state. And of course, the connection to that is a matter state. Well, and then book number 3, The Origin of the Universe, where like cells, they multiply through division. And so we created 2 universes, one of which we live in, man's universe, and you only recognize that tiny spot, which we call Earth space, and even a tinier spot, which we call our modern day caves, referred to as condominiums. And we ignore that, and then like forget about the sister universe because we haven't even raised our schemes of awareness. And that's what we need to do, because for 442 weeks, Rick Crammond and the Universal Council have been bringing together one planet, one nation, one race for justice and world peace. And that includes all universal councils. So this is how we have to raise our awareness and understand that the plasma rule, where the higher strength feeds the weaker strength, differs from where we have been functioning, where the higher strength beats or kills the weaker strength, or even eats the weaker strength. That transaction zone where 2 fields come together frequently ends up being a conflict point. But that too is a binding zone because it binds the belligerents together into an inertia density manifestation. And as we find, there are no winners in that regard, because you, as the last man standing, have to make heads or tails out of this and restore order. And there's a sequence on how to do that, and it follows the rules of the gravitational attraction, part of the feedback. And today we're discussing the magnetical repulsion, part of the feeding, where we turn on and turn off the feeding, increase or decrease the strength, and enhance or diminish the positioning. So the stronger feeds the weaker, which brings us to the subject of cellular stability, where we have that gravitational neutron. And how does it interact with that out-tensity interaction? And so we see that the phospholipids form 2 layers around the cells, but something is going on inside, and it's giving us stability. Well, where does that come from? Well, let's talk about melanin. It has a universal presence. Every human has melanin and cells that make it, regardless of their race or skin tone. So much for racism. The amount versus identity. People with darker skin tones have more eumelanin, but human skin is made up of various shades of brown rather than a pure, literal black. So the purpose of the melanin, of course, is to offer protection. It forms a cap over skin cell nuclei. And this is to shield the DNA from UV damage. So we have to understand that there's a cap over the skin cell nuclei. And there's a relationship with the DNA. And there's a relationship with the ultraviolet light. And so the response to the sun, of course, is that sunlight triggers extra melanin production, which causes the skin to tan or darken. So when we look at the genetics, the amount and type of melanin you inherit determines your natural skin and hair color. Then we talk about neuromelanin, which is a dark brown pigment found inside specific brain nerve cells, primarily in the substantia nigra, which is black, and locus coeruleus, which is blue. It forms from the breakdown of chemical messengers like dopamine and builds up as you get older and helps trap harmful metals. So here's the maggrav structure of the neuromelanin. And notice that we have two hydroxyls and that we have one combination of nitrogen with hydrogen. Remember that the hydroxyls were water where the hydrogen was sheared off. So in the brain areas, neuromelanin is found mostly in regions that control movement and stress, making those areas look dark or black. Now, in the cell type that sits inside specific brain cells that make dopamine and noradrenaline. And as far as growth is concerned, this builds up slowly over time as a person ages. Unlike skin melanin, which is present early. So the key factor here is that the neuromelanin grows in a matter state condition, whereas the melanin was provided to you plasmatically. So the neuromelanin acts like a sponge to lock away dangerous metal ions like iron and toxic waste. We have a lot of that. So it isn't surprising to see the relationship with Parkinson's disease. Nerve cells with this pigment tend to break down and die in Parkinson's disease, causing a loss of the pigment. So the subject has suddenly changed its face. So Parkinson's disease, just to review, is a selective degeneration of brain cells that contain the dark brown pigment neuromelanin, especially dopamine-producing cells in part of the brain called the substantia nigra, which receives its name because of the presence of its dark pigment. In humans, neuromelanin accumulates progressively with age. Increasing age is the main risk factor for developing Parkinson's disease. The physiological significance of neuromelanin and its potential contribution to Parkinson's disease remains unknown. Because, in contrast to humans, commonly used laboratory models lack neuromelanin. How many times have you asked your teacher or professor, and the answer always came back, I don't know. We have to look in the right places. So let's review dopamine. This is a chemical messenger or neurotransmitter made in the brain. It plays a major role in how we feel pleasure, stay motivated, and move our bodies. And so if we look at the structure there, again, we see the two hydroxyls, but now the NH combination has picked up a hydrogen. And based on surface to volume ratios, we understand which side is gravitational, which side is magnetical. And this becomes very important to understand the transfer of energy because dopamine sends a signal between the nerve cells in the brain. It drives the brain's reward system when you eat, win a game, or achieve a goal. It helps control body movements and coordination. And most importantly, it regulates focus, memory, and mood. So what are the ranges? Well, low levels are linked to Parkinson's disease, which gives you trouble moving and shaking, low drive, and trouble focusing. High spikes, on the other end, quick spikes from things like phone scrolling, drugs, or junk food can lead to crashes in mood or habits of addiction. So this is our increasing our field of reference beyond. We talked about melanin with the skin, got into Parkinson's, now we're into addiction. Let's add the cerebral cortex to the discussion. This is also known as the cerebral mantle. It is the outer layer of neural tissue of the cerebrum of the brain in humans and other mammals. And remember that its primary composition is that of calcium. Introducing the 5-HT subscript 2A receptor. This affects cognition, learning, and memory, and it is highly expressed in the cerebral cortex, and especially in layer V of the pyramidal neurons and certain interneurons. Now, it is a cell surface receptor, and this activates multiple intracellular signaling cascades. So when we talk about gray matter, it is the largest site of neural integration in the central nervous system and plays a key role in attention, perception, awareness, thought, memory, language, and consciousness. But plasma knowledge seekers know that these are all matter state attributes. Previously, I had talked about the corpus callosum. You see, the cortex is divided into left and right parts of the longitudinal fissure. And this separates the two cerebral hemispheres that are joined beneath the cortex by the corpus callosum. So we understand that the dopamine affects the DNA, and the melanin is there to protect. And so we know that the screw duality of the DNA is the double helix with overlapping dual spirals. The RNA has the same effect. But here we are in the matter state to plasma state transitioning zone. And what we learned from the 630th Knowledge Seekers Workshop is that there are embedded inherent frequencies. This is where the soul and the soul of physicality threshold requires the blur field, because we're very much disconnected because we're operating in singularity. But the soul and soul of physicality always hits the bullseye. So something is keeping us on track. And are you ready to break through? So this is how we have to differentiate. And we see with the cups of life, we were able to create from that physicality ganses, which were either magnetical or gravitational, but they were all individually Maggrav conditions where one cup was emotional and one cup was physical. And then when we looked at the plasma matter dilemma, we saw that things were still in balance. So the physical state of the atomic, nano, and GANs states all were in balance, but we could transition between the states. But the plasma state was not physical, but it was also in balance, and it too could transition through that maggrav energy transfer state. So things always maintain in balance. So we saw that with the cup of the universe, where the brain was the intermediary between the physicality and the universal language. And we saw the symmetry of the brain, where we had an impact from the physical copper GANs and an impact from the emotional zinc GANs and the carbogen, the connection. And we had the maggrav condition of the pineal gland. And this all was connected with the X factor language of love. So we see that the physicality was very much gravitational and the connection to the universe very much magnetical. And the brain ends up being the midpoint.
My system has frozen and I can't seem to get out of it.
But we needed supplementation due to consumption.
We'll have to.
And this consumption came from an acquired knowledge.
So you
which is
can
conditional
log
teaching
off
by
and
ancient
start
teachers.
again?
So we always
I can't.
refer to our
My mouse.
elders.
So you'll
Why?
have to shut down
But
your
what about the
machine then,
unconditional
turn it off.
teaching by the
Yeah, I'm
Creator?
not going to do that though.
And this has caused a new awareness where we realize a 20% shortfall in our loosh. And so this is the historical threshold between the cosmic feeding and the loosh harvesting. So we resolve this anomaly because we understand that we are in a magnetical cocoon, and that gives us gravitational stability. And since the language of the love is the connection, we wonder when the two faces of love, as represented by Aphrodite, are not just in the physical state, but also in the plasma state. Because the carbon inertia highways, as we said, we pick up an extra dozen on the carbon-12 to understand the duality.
Yes, we can see.
And that's a transmission. But this is all supported. All these highways are supported by plasma. And the plasma states are likewise supported. So the connection is through the cosmic rays. And they too have equilibrium. But in terms of structure, they have overlapping fields. And each of these fields is a maggrav. But there is a direction, because no two fields are the same. So one field can affect another field. It all depends. So we saw with the gold production, there was an inherent susceptibility and singularity, but the susceptibility changed in duality because of the gravitational completion. It required an external input of a Gans field of humanity. The skin, you touch the gold Gans and you turn it into gold. Isn't that what we do with our cell phones? We touch the cell phones and we communicate. So we understand then that there are different ways to measure these counterweights. So we've always been looking at the physical state, we'll measure it by weight, but the atomic state is measured by mass. But those two are still part of the gravitational counterweight. The nuclear state is measured with Teslas, and the plasma state is measured by time, and that is part of the magnetical component. So when we look at how plasmas come together and they make this plasmatic manifestation, no two plasmas are the same, just like no two bagels are the same. And they come together into this transaction zone, which gives us this physical manifestation of a maggrav. And we have this gravitational certainty because that emission light array, as it crosses the threshold, is actually oxygen. That is the non-visible X factor gas. And it demonstrates the plasmatic decay to GANS, where GANS decays from gas to liquid to solid. And you end up with this physical anchorage. And this is gravitationally inherent. And we know this comes from the light because the oxygen has an emission spectrum in physical light, which identifies it clearly. So we have inherent attributes by arriving here. This gives us a gravitational confirmation of that center point, that peak core that gives us that gravitational certainty of mutually assured construction. But we also have a magnetical certainty, and we've proven that when we did the tests to achieve 129 Tesla, 129 times the magnetical surface strength of the planet. So we're heading into uncharted territory where we are an array within an array, and there's many stars beyond the nanomonatomic state, covering the range from decay to radiation. That AI is the ancestral intelligence that shows that we are the technology and we are the inertia product. We are the image of our dimensional convergence point. And that timelessness that we always talk about with the man, the myth, and the legend. Are you a legend in your own mind or in the Sumerian texts, which differentiate between the plasma science, the physical science, and the pseudoscience? We're going through very illuminating experiences here. So we also talked about the supergranular layer. Let's remember this is 3 cells thick. It encapsulates the corpus callosum. Neuromelanin is membrane bound. It's granular. It binds dopamine in a reversible manner, which means it represents a catalytic behavior. So you are a plasmagen receiver through your supergranular layer. And all of us working on this planet manifest in a larger scale a supergranular layer. But that's just us. So the universal community is also affecting this supergranular layer. I talk about that on January the 16th of 2022. And for 654 weeks, the Knowledge Seekers workshops have been trying to bring together the knowledge and the understanding of the plasma science. And now we are hitting the pico core of truth, where we understand the purpose of many of our bodily functions, and our research teams are looking in the proper places to come up with the answers. We're looking for that scientific rescue, one nation network at a time, to open the blinds, hit that bullseye, and modulate that X factor by magnetical cascading. One nation network at a time, and that time is now. We're beyond the ordinary racism. We're into the space racism where we have the science fact versus the science fiction and the universal councils, which are competing earthbound versus the spacebound. And so we see the other competition, the world rulers versus the world leaders. So what we see is the warmongers fighting against the peacemongers. How is it that the hand that kills can also be the hand that caresses? That is a burden. It's a compassion, racism burden. And our involvement, our evolution is a capacities racism burden. And so our mission is to bring peace on earth and join humanity with the universal community. We want to bring man as equal to all the beings in the universe by teaching the plasma science and technology equally to everyone, that no one is left out and no one is abused due to a lack of knowledge, and involves the World Peace Treaty. This is the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute teachings on plasma science, welcoming all the beautiful plasma travelers of the carbon nations, learning about the new frequencies of the new organic plasma science. Choose that World Peace Treaty and sign it unconditionally and mean it sincerely. That's the only way. The matter tech is dominating our seed core manifestation, and that man-made margin is between the war dome and the peace dome. So ask, is the inertia of the present governed by dimensions of history, or is it time to learn the history of self in a universal context? Remember, the physical Magrav state is in constant universal communication, and the melanin is what sets up the transition highway cascade into that physical matter state transmission highway inertia conditions. So keep enhancing daily the plasma science via the Peace Dome in a practical exchange for peace on Earth. So welcome to the new golden outer space age. And the story just continues. This is the end of the class. I hope you enjoyed this session. Thank you for tuning in.
Okay, thank you, Alex. A lot of terms and a lot of understanding to be had, and I'm glad you've reached that level. Would anyone like to comment on this teaching of melanin? We do know a little bit more. Of course, we've always looked at our skin in a different way. We don't like wrinkles, or we want it to be very soft and supple and the rest of this, but it has another function. Yes, did you want to add something?
Yes, while he was talking, I was looking up melanin in the eyes, particularly the iris. And that is the determining factor of the eye color. And then I was looking at, what is it called? The reading of the iris, but online they didn't say that had anything to do with, I can't think of the name right now. But there are a lot of functions of melanin. And also, like I was looking up the interaction between alcohol consumption and melanin, there's significant connections. The connection with Parkinson's disease, and there's a lot of stuff that connects with the melanin. It's a very, very important piece of our body.
Right. And how about the pupil? They all seem to be black.
The pupil is just a hole that goes to the back of the eye. That's why an eye doctor can take a little light and shine it back there, and then they can look at the back of your eye and see, they can actually see the condition of the arteries in the back of the eye, and thereby conclude what your general condition of arterial health is, just by checking the back of the eye.
Yes.
So I always ask, what do you see? Because so many people, they just give you your prescription and that's it. But they don't really explain what they actually see.
Yes. Okay.
I'm going to explore that some more.
Isn't that pupil, that black hole, isn't that what he referred to that? That's why everyone, even if your eyes are yellow or green or brown or blue, the center of it is always black.
Yeah, it's the hole that's covered with the cornea. And the cornea, normally, with a healthy cornea, you can shine a light through it. If it's cloudy, then you have a vision problem.
So the physicality and the soul of physicality actually started the process, but this wasn't left to an amateur. The soul completed the process. And as Mr. Keshe said, even the skin, even on one person, has different textures and different layers for different functions. As he said, the skin on the brain is different than the skin on the feet or other things. So it's a very highly specialized converter, releaser of energies and fields. And of course, the soul has set it up beautifully that way.
And since I learned about natural selection and the Darwinian theory of that kind of stuff, I've always wondered, how is it possible just through natural selection to develop light sensitive skin, or then maybe light sensitive organs, or something as complex as the eye? Never made sense to me.
Yeah, it happened over much time. It just didn't happen.
But it wasn't natural selection. There was no particular benefit of a piece of the brain bulging out in the place where the eyes are supposed to be, because the eyes are part of the brain.
Yes, the whole skin is part of the brain. And just amazing when he said the soul is actually, the energies of the soul interaction with the energies of the earth actually pulls the body down and actually creates the organs and the rest of this. I mean, you would think that would happen in the womb, but as the child is born and it's maybe only 2 feet tall or 3, and then the soul says, no, I want to, based on the fields in the soul, it sounds like I want to grow taller. Or, you know, it pushes away from the earth and the earth pulls down the structure of it. It's just, again, I haven't really thought it through fully, but it's a very interesting sort of concept.
And
Now,
also for me, I was interested in the cap. Melanin is a cap on the skin. And it's so it isn't one whole piece of skin that's blocking sunlight. It's actually a little cap on the skin cells.
yeah, just again, the deeper we go, the deeper we can go, apparently. What stood out for me was this picture in a way, the way it hit me this time. And you see, if you've ever seen a rainstorm and there's a large puddle and all the drops are hitting, like you hear the center, and it's sending out waves. And I was thinking of these sort of drops as my thoughts, these drops as sort of my words, these drops as sort of my actions. And a lot of times we don't realize that we're sending out fields, we're creating energies. We don't know where they're going, but we're creating them. And so I think this is why it's important, as he said, to think good, to speak good, and to act good as much as possible, or move in that direction. Because when you don't, you're certainly creating some very negative energies, even if you're not aware of it, apparently. Does that make sense to anyone? As we know, we're huge field generators. Each one thoughts. Yes.
Is that why we have tsunamis? I keep going back to the thought of we as humans, we are causing the earth to be very upset. You know, when you think about the energy, the negative energy that we're pouring on planet Earth.
But it also works in the same way, right? I mean, you have a sneeze. Is that something bad? You're releasing a lot of volume of air and energy all at once. Doesn't the Earth replicate that with maybe a volcano or, as you say, a tsunami? It has to release energies or emotions from time to time.
I wonder if we can do it without destruction, because we end up killing, and that's not a good thing.
I think we can. But certain things energies have to be released. Just the way air has to come back out of your lungs, or flatulent out of the other end, it has to release certain things so it can continue with the next process. So
the way we do it is important.
So just think of how many thoughts you have per day, how many words you have per day, how many actions. Obviously, the thoughts are more than probably anything, because we think more than we speak, and we act, I think, the most part. But think of all those little drops of all those fields you're sending out. And that's why, again, stressing the idea of thinking, speaking, and acting good, because you're involved in a process of creation, even if it's unknown to you. So that was what touched me. And of course, as we're learning recently about blocking the skin, covering the skin, layering it with plastics and so on, we actually create an interference of energy flow, which probably has an effect on our emotions. So I'm trying to move to more cotton, light colored linens, maybe some silk if I can afford it, and so on, and not wrapping myself in plastic wrap, so to speak, where you create a stagnant or a static, not stagnant, but static energy flow. It goes through, but I think you've actually limited part of it, almost like blocking half of your vision with your hand. So again, all of these things in tandem with one another, in combination with one another, play very important roles. So thank you, Alex, for sharing your understanding and this teaching. Anyone else want to add anything or something that was triggered? I'm sure Alex likes to hear certain things, and of course we'd have more interaction if he was here. So that
something
touched me, this puddle. And every time I think of a puddle now, I'm going to think of my thinking, my speaking, and my acting as generating field energies.
Something got triggered in your computer. Did you figure out what it was?
No, I don't know what happened. He's not sending it in the proper screen size, and I don't know how to manipulate this. So what I did was just bring this into full screen, and it takes over my other screen. My other screen is now black. So if I press the escape button, it goes right back. But when I was pressing it before, it wouldn't allow me, and the whole tray on the bottom wouldn't come up. I was thinking of shutting the computer down, but then all of a sudden the tray came up, but it wouldn't do the escape and the rest of it. I don't know what happened.
Well, your computer's trapped in the matrix and you can't escape.
Yes. Again, the AI can hack your computer in about 15 seconds or less. But no problem. We have a lot of workarounds. So any other thoughts or comments you'd like to make on this teaching? I know there was a lot of words and a lot of phrases, and we can open that up perhaps when Alex comes back in, but some of the words he puts together are quite interesting. I didn't write them down, but they're in there. I could find them again. But thank you, Alex, for sharing your understanding and how you see this knowledge and how you like to share it. And of course, we all understand according to our own understanding. And nobody is forcing their understanding on everyone else. This is part of the beauty of what we heard in the disclaimer. You decide if it befits you, what you've missed, and so on.
I'm just thinking about the game,
Yes.
and we have caps on our countries. Whenever we visit countries, we have a certain number of caps we have to earn. And then when I heard the word cap on the skin, I thought, oh, I wonder if there's a relationship there. Something about the game.
If we ever get these glasses, as he said, we can see into the universe, but there'll be some for local viewing, I think, as well. And when we start to look at this universal body, which I think if we were able to step outside the unicos, we would see an exact copy of the two arms, two legs, the head, and the body. And this is what would represent the unicos in a way. I believe Mr. Keshe referred to it as the universal body. And that's why I think he keeps referring to, is this the kidney? Are we part of the cell of the kidney or the intestines or what? Because the creator or the structure that's been created looks exactly like the body of the man. Perhaps. This is just my understanding. So they called it the universal energy body. So the solar system works the same, the cells work the same, the galaxy works all the same way. And again, the solar system taking 80% of its energy from outside sources, and the other 20%, what is it doing? Is it eating things to gain that other 20%, or is it just the interaction of fields between the structures that have been created by the sun and the sun itself? because obviously it's 20% short. But it's working the same way as we are.
I have one question for Mr. Keshe, maybe, but I thought maybe I'd throw it out here. Does he consider First Nations nations or countries? Do they count?
Yeah, I think Rick said that one of the First Nations, he had them sign or worked with them to sign the World Peace Treaty. I don't know where it went from there. But we've seen those in the Amazon as well. No, all the nations are going to be equal. This is the whole idea. Just the way every soul is equal to one another.
But on the game, they don't count. They're not countries. They're nations, countries.
Say again?
They're nations, but not countries. On the game.
In the game,
Yes.
yes.
Like in South Africa, we have, for example, Lesotho, and it's encased all around with from or by South Africa. So, but it's a little,
But I think that's a country.
Yeah, it is like a country, but it's completely, I don't know how to describe it.
It's like
almost like
small city, kind of within a country, but they designate it like the Vatican or Monaco or something.
More like that, yeah.
And you call it, I called it, no, I called it Lesotho. You called it something else?
Lesotho, yes.
Lesotho. And
L-E, Lesotho, yeah.
And eThekwini, is that another one in South Africa?
eThekwini.
How do you?
I mean, it starts with the letter E, but eThekwini, it's at the beaches, and it's Durban. I always ask the driver, "Are you going to eThekwini?" And then sometimes we say Tegu, like short.
It
used to be Durban.
You called it Teguini?
eThekwini, yes.
eThekwini. Is that a separate enclave or country as well?
Nope. It's actually what Durban is the name that everybody knows. But it used to be eThekwini at the beaches. Because Durban is
Go ahead.
Durban's on the water. We're one of the biggest ports.
But it is one of the nations you can visit, isn't it? On the game of peace and enlightenment. They have Lesotho.
Well,
they have
Lesotho, and they have Swaziland. So there's quite a few little countries. But during the wars and everything, that's how they ended up with their particular shapes and sizes. So yeah, it's very interesting.
Okay, anything else anyone would like to say about this teaching from Alex? Thank you again, Alex. Please keep them coming, and we look forward to your soon return. Just a reminder, there is a testimonial meeting tomorrow. This is the monthly testimonial meeting where if you receive something or you'd like to share something, it's in the same public Zoom room as the Knowledge Seekers Workshop. It normally starts at 8 p.m. Central European Time or Central European Summer Time. And of course, tomorrow is the 10th, and I believe it's the second Monday of the month. And of course, that's when the testimonial meeting. So you're all welcome to join if you have something you'd like to share, questions. Again, Rick will usually explore many different subjects, but we like to hear anything that you've noticed or that's been happening to you, or even enlightenment, I would say, is a testimonial, or becoming more peaceful. This is another testimonial. So if you have something to share, please feel free. Everyone's welcome. Starting at 8 p.m. Anything else? So you can see it's all well thought out, well prepared, a coin we can trust, a coin that's monitored, not to be used for illegal, illicit activities, as many of the coins and apparently are today. So this is in a way, a super coin. Again, super for bringing peace to this problem planet at the moment. But again, this has been solved in many, many corners of the universe in the past, and we're just up sort of, it's our turn in a way to be brought into the bigger dimension. But again, it may take more than 1 year or even 1 century for its completion. If there are no other comments or questions, I'm going to play the final disclaimer, which I'll have to find again. Apparently that one out of my tray as well. Anything else anyone would like to share? Just continue to participate, play, share it, develop it, and much more in the future as these associations start to take shape. Coins have been released, more coins will be released, more ONNs will be released, the One Nation Network. So it's all in the process, but it's step by step, perfecting it at each level and then going to the next. So thank you all for being a small part of a very, very large picture. Anyone else want to make a comment? And then, of course, taking it out into the universe should be a cakewalk once we've dealt with it here, hopefully. Okay, if there's no further comments, thank you again. Have an amazing rest of your day. We'll see you in one of the future teachings. Let's just maybe even tomorrow. Let me just make sure we're sharing the screen. I need to bring up the disclaimer one more time. We'll play the final disclaimer. And again, you take from this knowledge according to your intelligence and how it befits you. And this is the way I like to operate. Because I don't know your level of understanding or even the emotions that are going on. I'm trying to understand my own structure. So this is the beauty of the disclaimer. You decide how this knowledge and what part of this knowledge befits you. And you apply it, and you open it, and you investigate it. And that way, nobody can shake any of your confidence because you don't say, well, so-and-so told me, but you understand it according to your understanding. Okay, anyone want to make any further comments before we play the final disclaimer? Very good. Alex, hopefully we see you soon. Thank each and every one here. We appreciate your presence, and share a little kindness with your words, with your thoughts, with your deeds, because kindness is free. We hear that on some of the other podcasts that I listen to. So enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you in one of the future meetings. Bye for now.
Disclaimer. The information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GAN's processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.